Okay. Hey everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Paranormal Round Table. I'm your host, Josh Turner. This is our live stream. Not everybody that listens to the show listens to the live stream. Not everybody that listens to the live stream listens to the podcast. So, podcast is a Friday show, and this is the Tuesday show. Two different things. This is not a podcast. This is a YouTube only, a YouTube exclusive. You only get this through YouTube. And so, everybody, thank you for joining us. Yeah, what if Wolf is a werewolf? What if that's the case? What if I became a werewolf back when I was 15 years old? And I've been interested in the subject and looking for the answers ever since, because I need to know how to not be one. What if I'm like, the vampires from What We Do in the Shadows? Has anybody seen season 3? Where Nandor, the Relentless, I want to give it away, but he goes and joins sort of a cult, and they decide that they're human. They're actually humans. They're not really vampires, so they pull their fangs out. What if that's what's going on? What if I'm just trying to find a cure, trying to find a way to be a human? What if that's the case? What if I became a werewolf against my will? And I'm trying to understand the nature of what I am. And I'm just uncovering more and more and more pieces of the puzzle as I go along. Hypothetically. It would be weird. You're just trying to figure out your place in the world. What these other creatures are, what everybody is. I got a crazy report this morning. I woke up to a report this morning of a dogman, werewolf-looking creature right here in Texas. But I get those all the time. This one was really weird. I mean, she said she should go to school in San Marcos. She should go to school at UT, and she had a job. And they sent her on the road to go, and it was like a job where she did like people's taxes or whatever. I'm going to tell that story eventually on the show. But she saw something really crazy. I can't imagine just driving down the road as a 25-year-old person, and you see this werewolf on the side of the road, and yeah, she decided to pull over and get a look at it. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you see one, because I get lots of stories. People like, I was driving, and I saw this thing on the side of the road. Got one out of Oklahoma recently, and the guy was like literally pulled over to the side of the road because his car was overheating. And anyway, broad daylight, and I believe he was outside of I remember the name of the town. I don't have my notes in front of me or my whatever. But anyway, it was in Oklahoma. They're a small town. I think he said he was headed to Childress, Texas. But anyway, he pulls over on the side of the road, and his son, who's a little bitty, wakes up and starts crying, saying that there was something on the side of the road, saying something in a ditch. And he looks down, and there's this, what he thought was a very hairy man laying, and it had its arm like this where he couldn't see the face, and he thought, what is that? Is that a man? But it had really weird legs, and then it kind of moved its head to the side, and it looked like it might have been injured because there was like blood around it, and it had a snout, but it had arms, and he couldn't get a really good enough of a good look at it to say, hey, this is a wolf type creature, this is a Bigfoot type creature, this is a human with a lot of hair. He couldn't say what it was. He was just in shock. So I think he said it sounds like 5. So he gets in the car and they take off, and he goes further down the road to worry about his car overheating. Trying to remember the name of the town he was in. Lawton, I think it was. I'm not for sure if that's correct, but anyway, that's a crazy story. The description he gave me too was just like grayish brown. The skin was real brown and dark. You know, I said it was 2 summers ago, like at the height of the pandemic. And it was just so weird, you know. His son had nightmares about it. But if anybody caught the show last week with Dark Waters on, and he was talking about getting reports of all these weird creatures that just kind of escalated during the pandemic. That's something me and Dark Waters talked about on air, off air, you know, just the sheer number of reports that we've gotten of weird things since the pandemic started. It just seems like, I don't know, man, like evil just took off or something, you know? And it's good to see Dark Waters recommitting himself to his faith, you know. It's something that I need to do more of and be more involved in. Is just, you know, it's hard. I made a post this past week on Facebook when I felt really down and depressed, and I just couldn't stop thinking about negative stuff and thinking that maybe this subject is just too negative for me. At times I feel like I can't focus, and I'm trying to run 2 businesses simultaneously, and I just seem like I'm not doing 100% at either one. And so I felt like I was at a crossroads, like maybe I needed to make a decision, but then I had kind of thought, well, you know, my wife's like, do what you feel is best. But then everybody started hitting me up, telling me that there was an outpouring of people asking me to continue. But when I said I felt like going away, I just meant like going away, literally just going away, not being on this, you know, just not going to do anything silly or anything, you know, but I just don't feel like being here. I'm just tired. I'm tired of ignorance always seems to be triumphant nowadays, and seems to be the order of the day. Stupidity just seems to win. People say the most ridiculous, ignorant things, and if you contradict it, then you're the idiot, you're the bad guy, you're the guy that doesn't, you know, you should be quiet. You know, people want to identify as a goldfish, then you're supposed to be like, oh, okay, very proud of you. And at some point, I think the common sense just went right out the freaking window, and we let it. And I'm just kind of fed up. And I'm probably a relic in my way of thinking, I guess. I'm not supposed to be upset by the world the way it looks right now, because it looks pretty bleak at times. And it's no wonder that these things are coming into our world. Talked to somebody who believes that their timelines intersected to the point where they actually met their alternate self from another reality. If anybody would recall John Teeter, he was on Coast to Coast. He's not the guy I'm talking about, but he's talked about time travel, and I actually have a John Teeter on my Facebook. And it's a very interesting story. This person, they claim that they met their alternate reality self through deep meditation. They were able to astral project into the next door reality and live as their alternate self, which is very weird the way they were describing it, but it would kind of make sense the way that they were saying it happened. I'm not saying it did, but this person has obviously done their homework, or maybe it really happened. I don't know. I'm not going to tell anybody you're full of crap. I don't, because I have no idea. And I do believe that it is possible. Time travel as going back into our timeline is not possible, but going into another alternate timeline, I think could be. Because if you went back into our timeline, it wouldn't be the same when she returned. If anybody can follow what I'm saying, it would be a completely different place. Yeah, John Teeter, who was looking for an IBM computer. So, yeah, and me and Dark Waters, he messaged me a couple days ago, just checking on me. He's been a good friend, and we're going to be doing a show together for the podcast. We're gonna work together. I'm also going to be doing some work with Anna Choate, who, if anybody remembers her, she was on. She's the one that did the investigation of Fox Hollow Farm. Fox Hollow Farms is where the serial killer, Herb Baumeister, killed 50 people. He killed 50 men. He was a very brave guy. He was so brave. So he killed all those people, and yeah, now their ghosts are basically running around that property, along possibly with his evil spirit. But that's in my archives if you go back and look at it. It's just some of the things that, Let's get to the Patreon real quick, and then we'll get started here. Patreon, $20 tier. Titan, Adam Jinks, Brady Matsunaga, David Vigil, Dorothy Metcalf, Fat Squatch, Jim Kovac, Joyce Brunette, Martin Hertel, Maynard W., Melissa, Michael Turner, Miguel Guetta, Ricardo Ramirez, Spencer Rowley, Stephen Rivas, Vicky Walker, and these are all mixed up. Make sure we got them all here. $10 tier, Stephen Hill, Super Hornet 1, Terry Fusilier, Vulcan Death Grip, Extreme Reality Check, Pauline Rome, Taylor Alexandra Oric, Tim Bernard, Polly G, Tim Lewis, Philip Morn, Alexander Murphy, Barbara Blindy, Cassidy Lee, Charles Hamill, Chris Clough, Curtis Turner, Cyril, David Allman, Dead Man Walking, Debbie Wolf, Derek Tribble, Dick Richards, Eric Garcia, Graydon McKee, Guy, James Estrada, Josh and Callie Herrera, Kenny Irish, Christy, Martin Hertel, Mary Plyler, Matthew Durgo, Melissa Koyman, Mimi Piccolelli, Ricardo Herrera, Samantha Bowman, Shonda Hardinger, and Sonia Girding. Those are our $10 tiers. Thank you for being Patreon members and helping to produce the show. We still have tickets left for the conference, the August 13th conference. If you have VIP tickets, which are sold out, you can show up on Friday the 12th, and you will have a dinner with us, and you will get private time with us, all the speakers and guests that are going to be there. So if you haven't bought a ticket yet, you should go. It's going to be a once in a lifetime thing. I honestly don't know. Well, people are like, well, I'll wait till next year. I'm going to tell you the truth. I really don't think I'm going to do it again. Let's just be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. This is probably going to be a one-time thing as long as I'm doing my business. I don't really think I'm going to have time to do this on a yearly basis. This is kind of a stressful thing, and it's requiring a lot of money to put on. And I need to get that money back by selling tickets to the show, so that I can afford to pay the people that are going to be going, because right now everybody's kind of doing it on their own, pro bono, how's he say? I don't know, is that what you call it? They're just kind of doing it, hey, if you make some money, good, if not, But we got enough for their hotel rooms right now. But we don't even have enough to pay for the catering yet, which is coming out of my own pocket. But if you buy a ticket, you won't be disappointed, because no matter how many people show up or buy tickets, we are going to put on a great show. And we are going to cater it. So, we are selling tickets still. Go to Eventbrite, and Anthony, you can put the link on there. Also, if you're not a subscriber of the show, you can watch the show, but you're no longer going to be able to comment. Because that'll save us a lot of problems. We should have done this a long time ago. We debated it back and forth, and we were just like, you know what? If you want to get on there and make nasty comments, you're going to have to subscribe. So you're going to do something. And it's just going to tee off on us. So, most people don't make bad comments, but if you're going to be on there making comments, you're going to be a subscriber. Been kind of doing things for as free and as cheap as I could possibly do them, and now it's kind of getting to where, all right, we're starting to chafe a little, and I'm going to have to start paying more attention to my business. I'm trying to keep this going to where I can continue to do shows, pump out the live stream and the podcast. And if it comes down to it, I may have to stop doing the live stream. The podcast is something that I will try to continue to do regardless, but the live stream may have to take a back seat because I just don't have the time. These are hours in my day that I got to plan around, that I could be doing other things and that I desperately need to do. But I'm doing this because, I enjoy it, but also I care about my fans and I want everybody to, be happy. If you want your comment read and highlighted, make a donation. Donations are not expected by any means, but they definitely help and they are appreciated. And we do put the money right back into the show. It goes to help keep the show going so that we don't have to dig into our own pockets to do the show every week too. So, it helps. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today, I'm going to have a guest come on in probably 30 minutes. I don't know. But she's written a book, and we're going to talk about some of her things that have happened to her in her life. I have a substantial amount of material that I have not been able to process yet and get on a show. I want to do a standalone episode. We have the next week's Friday Hawaiian mythologies. I hope everybody enjoyed it. The first of two-parter with Kevin Panay, a native Hawaiian who talks about his experiences. We did part one last Friday, and then this coming Friday will be part two. And then after that, we're going to figure out what we're going to do. I want to do a standalone episode and then jump into a 2 or 3-parter with another guest. I just haven't figured out how we're going to do that yet because I've just been so slammed with everything. But let me know what you're interested in, because I do have a lot of Dogman stuff, and I have a lot of Bigfoot stuff too. And Bigfoot seems to be dominating right now. Everybody just wants to do Bigfoot. Bigfoot conference after Bigfoot conference. Try to put a Dogman conference on, and everybody's like, well, I don't know. I got to cut my toenails that weekend. I can't go. I got to rah. But if you have a Bigfoot conference, you can get 500 people to show up. That's serious. It just seems like, they take it more seriously. Like it's, just taken more seriously. So those of you who are interested in the Dogman subject, if you'd like to come and maybe even have your voice heard, you will be able to speak with some of the foremost researchers and authors and podcasters in the field, that cover this subject. And there's going to be a lot of the cryptid stuff too, and some Bigfoot people there. We're not going to just do Dogman. I did have a conversation earlier today with Jay Tucker with Vault. He gave me a call, and I'm not going to put any of his business out there, but he needs some prayers. he's trying to change. And it's an uphill battle. And when you try to change, the devil, or whatever you want to call it, evil, doesn't like it. And it starts throwing everything it can at you. And I think he's feeling that right now. So if anybody can take time out of their day to pray for him, help him out. Fat Squatch, hey, my Patreon care package came in today. Thank you very much for the swag, PRT team. Thank you, Fat Squatch, for that donation. I hope you enjoy it and wear it in good health. What he is referring to is if you are a $20 tier Patreon member and you have not gotten a, I guess what he's calling a care package, let me know. Hit me up. Hit me up on Facebook Messenger or through my email and let me know, hey, I'm a $20 tier member, and I've been a $20 tier member, and if you're for 3 months, you have to do it for 3 months, then you are eligible to get your, some of you have been $20 tier for a while. I mean, I'm sorry, you've been a $10 tier for a while, and you haven't, hit me up. So, yeah. And you switched over to $20 tier. You also get discounts on your tickets. You will be refunded. I believe it's, I think it's $15. You'll get refunded on your VIP tickets, and then if you bought regular tickets for the conference, it's $10. You'll be refunded. Talking about that for a second, the conference. People keep asking why we did it in Tennessee. First of all, Ken Gerhardt chose that location, so go and get on him and jump all over him. Okay. Sorry that it's in that section of the country. It's what he decided, and he threatened me. And so I was like, okay, dude, whatever, man. I don't want to get my butt kicked, so I'm just going to go along. No, I'm just kidding. What happened was he said that that's where he thought it should be because the LBL is there, and that makes absolutely perfect sense. I was like, the land between the lakes. That's where a lot of this stuff happened. So we decided to do it there. We are working together, and so I just thought that Ken has done 1,000 of these conferences, so I'll follow his lead. So we ended up in the LBL. Makes sense. Everybody keeps questioning me about that. Why didn't you put it in the middle of the country? Where is the middle of the country? Is it in Oklahoma? Is it in Missouri? Because everybody's got a different opinion about where it should be, but the bottom line is that's where it's at, and it's in Tennessee. Western Tennessee, and so that's where we decided to do it, and that's it. That's how it's going to be. Like I said, this thing has been kind of a stressful side thing for me, and so don't expect there to be another one next year and go, it's going to be next year. I'll go next year, because you're probably going to miss the boat, because I may not do it again. I'm going to be real honest with you. This has been stressful, so I'm probably not going to do it again. I'm not saying I won't. But it's just, if it's going to be this much trouble, I'm not going to do it. So, Eric Garcia says, have faith, brother. The Lord is with you. Thank you. Thank you very much. This whole world needs prayer. It's so ridiculous, dude. I can't walk 5 feet without some ridiculousness going on around me. And it's just starting to get to my nerves. You try to ignore it, I guess, the goofiness that goes on, but then it just, Anyway, Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. That's my email address, Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. Patreon.com/prtpodcast. That's the Patreon if you want to become a member to help with the show. One of the things we're going to talk about tonight is vampires. I have a couple stories. Very weird subject. When people give me stories, I've only had like a couple people who actually said, hey, I saw a vampire. And it was after they listened to my show and they heard the encounters that I classified along with I think the first one was with my old co-host who passed away. We got these stories. We went through them with me and Anthony, Tony, and Armando, and we said, hey, these sound like vampire stories. So we called them that. Now, that was our words, or we were calling them vampires. People weren't messaging me going, hey, I saw a vampire, dude. It was a vampire, But here recently, I was at the gym and I was with Anthony, and we were working out at I have 2 different memberships. I have a membership to a gym where it's like 2 different worlds. One of them is a powerlifting, literally bodybuilders and powerlifters, really dedicated people go there, and the other one's Planet Fitness. Now, the reasoning is that Planet Fitness, I chose it was 24 hours and it was cheap, and the other gyms were closing. I mean, literally, this Fitness Connection place here, they're open like 5 days a week, and it's only for like 2.5 hours a day, and it's not that bad, but it's pretty bad. Like they took full advantage of COVID, and they still are. Now I think they're just doing it because they don't have enough people or something, but they used every excuse because they already got your money, so it makes sense for them to not have to pay people, so they did everything they could to not be open, and they're still doing it. So they keep trying to send me and my wife stuff like, why don't you come back? Because I actually want to go work out, dude. I actually want to go to the gym and lift weights, not just go up there and you guys, we're about to close, sorry. Come back tomorrow at 11 a.m. when we'll be open until 11:40. Oh, really? At night? No, silly. That would be convenient. 11:40 a.m. What? You're only open for 40 minutes? Yes, bye-bye. Wow. What if I need to work out for an hour? I don't know. I just sit here and smile. Goodbye. Try calling and talking to a robot. Okay, Karen, see ya. Then, for 2 weeks, to try to get our money back on these memberships, and it was ridiculous. It was like, press 1 if you would like to talk to a human. Oh, just kidding. Press 2 if you don't like that I'm kidding. Press 3. Press 4 for no reason. Press 5. Goodbye. There was literally nothing you could do. Oh, you want to cancel your membership? Gee, why is that? Well, because you're never open. Well, is that the big problem? You could just drive outside the gym and look at us for a while and hope that the fat melts away. It's kind of what some people are doing now in California. And they pay $85 a month for that. You're lucky. Okay. Well, I'd like to actually work the fat off, not just meditate on it. So we had a problem with the gym, to say the least. It was not a good experience, and they took full advantage of the pandemic, and so we ended up at Planet Fitness. Now, Planet Fitness has decided that they're going to be closed on Friday and Saturday. And then they're going to open up on Sunday night, the night of Sunday night, at midnight for your convenience. I'm a night owl, so I guess that's great. I guess I'll just look at my watch, 11:59. So finally, I just went and I bought a membership at a place called Big Tex, which is just home to powerlifters and bodybuilders, which is great. It's a mom and pop gym, but it's $45 a month. I think it's worth it though, because I can go there at any time and I can go in there and lift however I want to lift, and I can throw the weights and I can drop them and I can take my freaking shirt off if I want to. You can do what you want as long as you're not, offending people, which if you go there, you pretty much know they got like, don't tread on me and come and take it flags everywhere, along with every branch of the military flag. So you kind of figure these people, they're not the kind of people that you're going to go up to and complain. Jordan was throwing the weights and it was loud. I got problems with PTSD because when my mom dropped pots and pans when I was little. Oh, you poor thing. Yes, I can't. I don't like it when people don't wear their masks. Oh, well, we don't wear masks here. Oh my God. What is wrong with you? You are literally the devil. Although I feel sorry for the devil, and I think that he was the good guy, and, all that stuff, because, that way. That's the way I go. Really? Sorry. I guess you don't belong here. It's kind of gym it is. I'll pay the extra money to go there. So I don't have to be around people who are going to tattle on me if I drop weights, because it's a lunk alarm that goes off if you drop weights or do things that offend them. But every now and then I still go to the purple gym, as we call it, because they have this waterbed thing that massages your back. They give you a hot little towel to put on your eyes. Cucumbers. It's amazing. I'm just kidding. They don't go that far, but it is kind of foo-foo. But anyway, you can still get a workout in as long as you do all the weight on the machines. Needless to say, I'll probably be dropping them once my contract is up. But Big Tex is where I like to go. And it is haunted. I had something happen to me the other day, which was odd. New favorite Italian place, Reali's, had something happen to me last night. I was standing there. I thought Tony was standing next to me. And I was like, you ready to go? And I look, and he's not there. There's nobody there to my left. There was somebody standing right there, which I could have swore was Mushu. And I had Anthony right in front of me. And I was like, you ready to go? And I turned, and Tony's not there. Kind of the same thing happened to me the other day over at Big Tex. I was coming out of the restroom, and I saw this guy sitting on a bench, just kind of looking at his phone. And I was like, oh, excuse me. And I went and I looked down, and he was gone. There was nobody there. Turns out it was just a person that was from Planet Fitness, and they were scared, and they ran out really fast because they heard a loud noise. But anyway, I'm just, I'm joking. Obviously, this isn't for real, but it's pretty close. Sophie, thank you for that donation. It's almost to the point now to where you can't walk out of your house, and you offend somebody by walking out of your house. You can't even walk out of your house. Like people at the office complaining, there's a ghost in my house. When I signed my contract for this apartment, I read the fine print. I am from Los Angeles, so that we are smarter than you. And I will tell you this. That ghost does not belong here. He's not paying rent. Now, he's in one of the back bedrooms. I do use that room as my safe zone. I do meditate there to Malak, and I do meditate on things like a gun-free world and, no police, things like that. And pops this ghost, and I'm like, why are you here? And he's like, starts telling me things like I don't want to hear. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's a Republican. And, I'm offended, and I need you to get an exorcist in there toot sweet, or I'm moving out. I mean, I'm okay with paying $4,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment, but not if I'm going to share it with a ghost. Golly gee. Sorry for the bad language. So, what ended up happening, I started talking to this guy that works out there. Him and his wife's from Germany. He's from the Philippines. He started telling me about this creature that he saw that he thinks he thought it was like a vampire. And it literally tried to grab his little brother, one of his little brothers, out of the freaking window, and it was pulling on they had bars on the windows, right? That's third world country. So it was trying to pull the bars open to get to him. And the only way he could describe it was vampiric looking, and it had wings. It looked like a gargoyle from the way he described it, mixed with the vampire. And he couldn't really tell me what it was. He just said it looked vampiric, And so you get these stories, but normally people don't really tell you, hey, I saw a vampire. I don't get people really messaging me until that first episode. Then they would say, I saw something that looked like a vampire. I'm not really hearing, hey, I saw a vampire, But I got 3 or 4 stories now, enough to do an episode. If you want to call them vampires, you can call them that. I don't know. But yeah, I got some you know, I know that there's enough energy vampires around Austin that could fill a stadium. I know that. You know, you go to check out at the grocery store and they're taking energy from you right there. I mean, they're just literally, they're like, welcome to Costco, I love you. You know, like idiocracy. I had somebody checking me out the other day at the HEB grocery store, and it was, that person was so low energy, I felt drained after being there. And like I was saying about the show, what we do in the shadows, you have the different types of vampires. You have the energy vampire, Colin Robinson. The guy, he talks like this, and he's real, you know, he's nauseating, and he talks ad nauseum, and he just drains your energy, basically, you know, and he's just like, you know, I had a friend named Ryan once. Most people know at least one Ryan in their lives. I remember Nolan Ryan, the pitcher. His best year was probably with the Astros, but you could make an argument for 1969 when they won the World Series with the Mets. He also did a stint with the Angels, and I think that was one of his more productive periods. So you could make an argument that finishing his career in his 40s with the Rangers, it was like, dude, that kind of person. And then you're over there like nodding off, like, and they're taking your energy. And this person at the grocery store was taking my energy. And her and the bagger were talking about the Johnny Depp trial, which I know a little bit about because my wife has been enthralled by it. Me, not so much. I think it's kind of, I mean, she's a kook. Let's get over it, dude. Okay, Amber Turd did what she did, and let's get over it. What's taking so long? What is all this deliberation, dude? She pooped the bed, folks, all right? Let's, you know. And their whole argument is basically, he did drugs, he drank, he did drugs, he drank, he did drugs, he drank, you know. That's all they can talk about. Fire Marshal Bill here, don't do drugs and don't drink. That's all they're talking about. That's all the argument is. And Johnny Depp's over there like, oh, these people, man, I don't know what to do with these people. You know, he's just, I guess I'm not going to be Jack Sparrow anymore. And so, you know, this person's draining my energy. And so I told her, I was like, here's the card to my show. We're going to do a show about vampires. You got to tune in. Oh, really? I don't believe in vampires. Really? Have you looked in the mirror? I mean, there's a certain type of vampire that can see their reflection. She didn't get it. But they were talking about the trial, and she was moving my stuff like so slow that I thought she was on like a robot on Ambien. I was like, the AI is real. They're here. We are now screwed. This is a robot. And they have given it Ambien, and I am in trouble. What are we going to do? Skynet. You know? Oh, it's just a millennial who doesn't give a crap about their job and is actually mad that they're not at home with their other millennials doing nothing. Sorry. Mm-hmm. She's like, I don't believe in ghosts. And then she just kept talking to her friend about the Johnny Depp trial. I was like, yeah, that's a pineapple. Yes, that's my wife's cottage cheese. Yes, thank you very much. She pooped the bed. Thank you, goodbye. You know, and it was just, I walked out of there feeling like I was drained. Crazy. Total energy vampires. Everywhere you go. They're energy vampires. They're just sucking you dry everywhere you go, and it gets old. Here's the thing. When people give you stories, though, there are stories of real vampires. And I'm not talking about, you know, some of these stories you get where people have some weird, like maybe something happened, maybe it didn't. No, I'm talking like people see things that look like a vampire. Like a gargoyle-looking vampire, werewolf, whatever you want to call it. Like, you know, people see these things. They see werewolves, they see vampires, they see them. And they're like, look at this thing. I'm going to give you one. This happened right outside of Gatesville, Texas. This was not a vampire, so this is a werewolf story. And I say it's a werewolf because it wasn't a dogman, dogman being something that people believe is that way all the time. This is not a dogman at all. In the sense of, sorry man, I'm choking. in the sense that it looked like something. Now you tell me at home listening. This person was walking along the side of the road. They could see them up in the distance, about 100 yards up. They started to walk out into the middle of the road, and then before their eyes, they laid down flat on the road. These people came almost to a complete stop. And this man who did not have clothes on began to undulate. I don't know what the word would be, kind of flop around. And then a funny thing is, the younger brother, so it was two brothers, and one of the younger guys said that he looked like he was doing the worm, like he was kind of, and he was like, dude, they were kind of laughing at first, like, look at this pendejo, and they were Hispanic, and they were like, look at this baboso laying in the road, he's doing the worm, what is this guy doing? And then they said that it looked like he was splitting down the middle and then kind of elongating. And the only thing they remember is like this weird snout coming off the front of its mouth, or it's where its front face should be. Okay. And they were like not sticking around to see what the finished product was, and they drove off. And it was at dusk, and they could see there was still daylight. It was almost dark. This happened last summer. And so they told me this story. I haven't even gotten to speak to him. I'm just like reading what was sent to me. But you're starting to get more and more reports, and I think it's coming my way more because I'm one of the people who's more willing to listen to that. Whereas a lot of these dogman researchers and stuff like that, they don't want to hear anything that has to do with the transformation at all. They're just like, it's a physical creature that lives out in the woods all the time. That's what it does. How it lives. That's what it is. And if you say, well, yeah, but there's no evidence to say the other way. That's just what it lives like. That's the way it always is. It's an animal. Well, actually, an unscrew light bulb. They don't unscrew light bulbs. They don't do that. It's bull crap. It's just an animal. It's just a lizard. You can't argue with them. The undiscovered species, evolution. It evolved. That's the way it evolved. And you're going like, there is no archaeological evidence to support that whatsoever. Like, absolutely none. But yet, they'll argue with you. They'll argue with you vehemently that this is a physical flesh and blood creature who has no metaphysical, nothing. But those same people, though, will sit there and tell you, the Native Americans were really smart. This guy literally argued with me. He was in a group, okay, and he was just arguing vehemently that anybody who believed that these things could be shapeshifters were just out of their freaking heads, and he laughed and joked and made a big old funny thing about it. And then I said, well, Native Americans, he was talking about, I saw one of his posts about Native Americans having a lot of truth to their legends of Bigfoot, and I said Native Americans believe that they can shapeshift. They're skinwalkers. No comment. Fell on deaf ears. So you want your beautiful cake, and you want to eat it too. You want this beautifully decorated cake to just sit there and be beautifully decorated, but you also want to eat it. That's not how the world works. Make up your mind, okay? Are the Native Americans correct, or are they wrong? Can't have it both ways. There's a lot of legends and a lot of stories that came from somewhere. I don't think these people were just seeing this dog man and then going, oh, that's a man that turns into that. Where's the connection there? I mean, when I see a bear moving around on two legs, I don't go, oh, man did that. That's a man. That's what that is. Man and some kind of other animal became that. You know what I mean? Like, so where's the connection? Somebody somewhere witnessed these transformations, and I believe that they've been just completely ignored. They've been overlooked, and they've pretty much been shunned because it doesn't fit their sexy narrative of this creature that lives out in the woods and has puppies and whatever the heck else they want to say. And folks, I'm going to tell you right now, I got a story from a guy years ago, Hernandez Ranch, who claimed that he's deceased now, but he claimed that he had one from when it was young. That still doesn't prove that there's a species out there that's breeding and making these things. It doesn't. Doesn't mean that. We could still be we still don't know exactly what we're dealing with, and I encourage you to go back to the archives and listen to those shows. We could still be dealing with something metaphysical. Okay? I have a much easier time accepting Bigfoot as a physical being than Dogman. In fact, Barton Nunley just made a post the other day that I completely agree with, because Ken Gerhard made one 6 months ago, and both of them touched off a bunch of comments, whatever, that Dogman's not even really a cryptid. Technically, it's not. Because by the term cryptozoology, you're talking about an actual, but these people believe that. They believe that, oh yeah, it is. We're going to prove that one day the Dogman, we're going to prove it. We got proof. We got the Dogman whisperer on this one. Yes, Ken Gerhard says cultures, oh, that's Ken. Okay, there you go right there. Cultures all over the world have traditions of shapeshifters that transform into anthropomorphic beings. Yes, absolutely. That's the kind of stuff we're going to talk about at the conference, folks, and we're going to talk about this live and in person. We're going to discuss this. I tell you what, if you're listening to this show right now, I'll do you. I'll pick 5 people who want to go to the conference if you have not bought your tickets. 5 people right now. Okay? I'll give you 2 for 1 on VIP. We have already sold the VIP. They're sold out. If you really want to go to that conference, I'll do you a 2 for 1 right now. Right now. But you have to be on this thread, on this show right now in these comments. And you tell me you want to go to the conference. So we can talk in person. And you can talk to me and Ken Gerhard and Nick Redfern and Barton Nunley and Vault and all the other people that are going to be at this conference, and you, Bettina Moss, Elijah Henderson, everybody that's going to be there. Jody Cook, Nick Valente. People that are at the forefront of this whole subject. Unfortunately, Dark Waters is not going to be able to make it. That really sucks. I wish Dark would. He's got things he's got to take care of. He's got family things he's got to take care of. But, yeah. But if you want to go, you tell me right now, and I'll give you VIP. But you got to pay for 1 ticket. I'll give you the second one for free. You get a +1. There's plenty of tickets available for general admission. There's none for VIP. But you got to be a subscriber to the show, and I'll give you 2 for 1. We will pick some of the tickets. Are $75 for the VIP. They're $30 for general admission. $30 for general admission. That's very cheap for what you get. You're getting like 12, 13, what is it, 14? I think with Kumbo dropping, I think we have 13 speakers. We're going to talk about this. We're going to sit there live and in person, and we're going to go around, and we're going to all talk about this, and you tell me what you think. I'll hear you out. If you come, you'll have a voice. You can speak to any one of us. Eddie, I understand gas is $5 a gallon, but like I said, can't wait around. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this next year. You know, gas is what it is. It is. It's expensive. Everybody knows. Everybody's got their issues, whatever. If you want to go, you let me know right now. I'll pick 5 people. You get a +1. You pay for the VIP ticket. You message me, and I'll give you the second ticket. I'll give it to you. You come. 2 for 1. It's going to be in Paris, Tennessee. Eventbrite. Anthony's got it up at the top of the chat right there. Order your conference tickets here. You go up there, you buy 1 ticket. You let me know that you're from here. Screenshot it. We'll do it. You can talk, and I'll bring you in. You can talk, and you can come on the Friday dinner. Yes, I've heard about the shooting in Texas. It could have been a lot worse. We're going to talk about that. This is not what we're here for. Please don't talk about it. I agree with you. Facing the Crowd says, live while you can. Let me tell you something. Inflation is going through the roof. We may not be here next year. We don't know what's going to happen. Holly Ann, that's such a kind thing to say. She says, I would love to attend this conference. Not sure how interesting I will be, but would love to talk to everyone. I just want to be in the presence of the great ones of the paranormal cryptid field. Yeah, we need some moderators in here. There's not one moderator in here. So, I saw him earlier. I haven't seen him since. Get in here. Know what he wants. You going next door?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the recession's coming, folks, regardless. I'm going to tell you right now, as you know, you're going to be hit really hard, you know, with the recession and everything else. We don't know what's going to happen. This could be the last hurrah for us, you know. So come August, I'll do everything I can to get as many people there as I can. Because like I said, I don't know what we're going to do, where we're going to be next year. And this may be your only shot to, Diablo, can you do me a favor? Get a hold of Scorpion and Tony. I don't know if what they're doing, but tell them to come moderate. Somebody says here, Josh, what did you think about Darkwater's thoughts last week on whether you might have had an attachment in the past, if that was what he was saying? Everybody gets attachments. You know, everybody does. When I used to train fighters, and I know for some reason that just makes everybody mad. Oh, he talks about being able to fight. And there's all these alpha males, whatever. Okay, look, dude, when I used to train fighters, I would see attachments on them sometimes. Like, I would catch it. I would catch glimpses of it on their backs and sometimes on their necks. It was very weird because I think the violence that spews forth from these people, I mean, like these things attach themselves to people that they can use and manipulate to get whatever energy they want. You know, it's parasitic. Anyways, when you're driving down the road and you see somebody lay down on the middle of the road on the hot pavement, they said it was like July, like the week after July 4th, okay, so whatever, last year, and somebody begins to move up and down on the hot pavement. Now, you can make the argument that maybe it was a crazy person, and maybe they laid down on that hot Texas pavement and they said, oh my gosh, this is really hot. So they began to break dance to try to get off of it, okay? Maybe. But how do you explain their face elongating? Or their ankles and their legs moving in a weird, you know, how do you explain that? You can't. I get so many weird stories, dude. And now, with Josh Ninokio's permission to be able to use his archives, I've made deals with a lot of different people, you know, and I share information with the NADP and, you know, and, you know, it's almost like at this point now, it's just like there's just an unending stream of stories you can talk about. I like to keep my area around where I'm from. It's where I'm from, and plus you don't have to step on people's toes in the area that they're researching and doing things from. But because there's a lot of stuff here in Texas, I don't need to go far to hear about it, you know. Devil's Backbone, you know. You got all these weird places, different, you know, East Texas, you go out to East Texas and Sam Houston, you know, Forest. Somebody says, Josh, how do I message you? I've bought a ticket, but I want a VIP ticket. Please let me know. Okay, if you've already bought a ticket, who is this? Jordan Cogburn says, I don't have enough to give an attachment. They starve. Michelle Burns says, how do I message you? I bought a ticket, but I want a VIP ticket. Please let me know. Okay, so if you've already bought a ticket, what I can do is I can give you a +1. Okay. So that's what I can do. Anybody who's on this show right now, if you've already bought a ticket, if you've already bought a ticket, I do with 5 people. So I can upgrade you, but we got to pick them. Right now, I guess D, if you want a ticket right now, you need to make a comment right now, and I guess we'll have D on here, and he can pick somebody. And make sure he can hear me right now. So if he picks you, Michelle, then we got to be fair. Everybody's got, the so we got to pick people. Wow. I think my wife has recruited Tony and Scorp to help her do the stuff at the house that I didn't want to do. North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project. Is that Thomas Cardos? Is that you, Tom? $4.99. Thank you for that donation, by the way. Bear Beekeeper Salon, you bought 4. Are you bringing 4 people, Bear? Random YouTube viewer says, Josh, what are some of the eye colors that have been reported with Dogman? Gosh, yellow, blue, orange, red, green. I can't really think of any color that hasn't been reported off the top of my head. Yeah, I guess. Okay, there we go. Pink and purple. I haven't heard of that. Pretty much, I agree with that statement. It's Elvis week there too in Tennessee that week. Wow, I didn't know that. Michelle Burns, VIP. I'll tell you what, Michelle, are you a Patreon member? Eyes are burning in here. Oh man, the pollen bad here. Oof. Adam Jinx says, I'm so excited for the conference. 18-hour drive, be worth it. Bear, if you got 4 people, you need 1 more VIP. I'll get you 1 more VIP. And Michelle, you guys show up to the conference. You message me tonight, your names. Bear, you message me. Okay? Give me the name of the 5th person. You got it. I'll give you the VIP. You come. Okay? We got to keep track of how many people are coming, so you need to purchase a regular price ticket. Okay? But you've already purchased, I'll give you the price, I'll give it back to you. But it's got to be purchased so we can keep track of it, dude. What is this? I love all the election fraud fairy tales. Take the L and get over it. Well, Joe, we're not here to discuss politics, but the bottom line is, if it was your guy that lost, you would be feeling upset. And I don't know. Not going to get into politics, dude. Wish you wouldn't be bringing that up, Joe. You should keep that to yourself. And Michelle, you message me, okay? As long as that's your real name and you got whatever, and you got your regular ticket, I'll upgrade you to VIP. We got room. We can put 10 more people on there. It's my conference. I can do that. Okay. I understand you feel a certain way, Joe, and I really don't care about that, but it says, I've said that a few times already, all due respect. I'm asking you to stop saying it, buddy. Okay? Your guy won. Good for you. You know, I'm enthralled by his speeches personally. I mean, he's got some funny. He's a great comedian. I think him and George Bush were probably two of the funniest presidents I've ever seen. George Bush, a fool can't be fooled again. You know. And then you got old Joe over there with Corn Popper's a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. And he said, "Boy, was the double-decker bus, cable in my arm in summary." You know, what is he? What is this guy talking about half the time? The heck, what is going on? I mean, am I being punked every time I turn the TV on? I think it's a joke. He's talking about Florida going down with Robert E. Lee. What? The sound bites are incredible. I never thought that we could top George Bush Jr. I thought that was it. I mean, I thought, boy, old George, boy, he was as dumb as they come. And then we got this guy, and it was like, wow, they upped the ante. I really don't give a crap right now. Don't really care. Just going to lay it out there. That's your president. Okay? And unfortunately, he's mine too. He's all of our president. It's not looking too good, folks. We're paying the $5 and gas, okay? Yeah, and you're over there going like, yeah, you want to give him the dog, take the L, you know? You're going to take the L too, Joe. You're going to take the L train right to Poor Town. Have you not noticed that? Huh? Have you not noticed the inflation? No? Yeah. You haven't noticed that? No? Not happening? Yeah, I don't want to have to sound, I'm going to talk to you like Jason Bateman on Ozark. Anybody seen that show? How Jason Bateman talks? He's real, like, matter of fact and kind of poignant, I'm going to talk to you about that right now. It's really bad. Things are not looking good. They, could have been a lot better. But, unfortunately, this guy's got Alzheimer's. So, we're not doing too good. We could be doing better. That's all I'm saying. We could be doing better. $8.80 a gallon for gas out in California. Okay. Got his son in there over in Ukraine. Now there's a war there. Just saying. So, it's what it is. I really would like to see him and George Bush debate each other. I think that would be one of the funniest things ever. Oh, and now Joe says, instead of assuming you know my political beliefs, you try asking me like a gentleman. Well, Joe, I'm in the middle of my live stream. What are your politics, sir? I'm asking as a gentleman. Are you being serious right now, dude? I'm asking. Tell me. I got 10 minutes before we get our guest on here. Anyways, has anybody heard the stories of vampires coming from the elite? Has anybody heard of that? Does anybody know what that is? Has anybody kept up with that that timeline? We got Lady Gaga making texts or tweets, Twitter, whatever. I hate that stupid thing. Talking about all you vampires out there, be careful, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Who is she talking to? What's this crazy woman? What's this nut job talking? Who are you talking to, lady? I had a guy that I made a free speech comment because now in the state of Texas, if they try to censor your speech, you can sue them for like $25,000 a day. I'm not lying. So if they disable you or they, put you on a block on Facebook, look it up. This is not a joke. I'm not making this up. That if you live in the state of Texas, you can sue them. And now all these people are trying to block it. They're trying to get the Supreme Court to block it. You're literally trying to block free speech. And now you're into privatization. These companies are private companies, but when it's, you're allowed to say what you want, you think everything should be public and we should all just have a giant bowl of food and everyone just eats a little bit. Right? Because let's tell the truth. You're really just communists. Yeah, you are. And that's what you want. Right? You're all down with the elites now. When it was George Bush in there being a dummy, being a moron that he was with his Darth Vader friend, Cheney, everybody was happy to bag on the government. I hate the government. Government sucks. Now we got Joe Biden there turning around. Who do I shake hands with? Yeah. Poop them. Everybody's like, oh, I love the government. Government's awesome. Hey, man, don't look at me, dude. I was a Clinton guy. I was. I mean, I thought he was way better president than Bush. Second term of Obama, and I'm going like, not so much. So you know what? I'm not anything now. How about they all are just vampires, dude? Because that's what they are. So let's stop playing whose team is better, because that's all you're doing is rooting for the team. You ever watch Jerry Seinfeld when he's talking about, your player, he goes from one team to another team. He played for the Cowboys and then he plays for the 49ers. And now you don't like him anymore because he's not wearing the same cloth. When it breaks down to, you're just rooting for the cloth. You're rooting for a cloth. That's all you're doing. He says that. It's a joke, one of his stand-up. We're literally just rooting for cloth. You're rooting for the Cowboys logo. Because now that guy, Joe Fontaine, doesn't play for, he plays for the Saints. So I don't root for the Saints logo. I root for the Cowboys logo. So that's who I like now. I don't like that guy no more because he no longer plays for us. That's what you're doing with politics. Very, very foolish. Very silly. You're very silly individuals if you believe that don't care. So if you're going to keep bringing it up, I'm going to tell you. So stop. All right? I don't care. Anyways, we're going to make this phone call. We're going to get going here. Enough of this. Stop bringing it up. It's foolish. Namiria, what did you walk into? Somebody that kept trying to bring up a political thing, whatever. That's absolutely correct, Kathleen. I agree with you. I agree with that. Just remember what I said. If they mess with you, you can sue them if you're in the state of Texas. That's the law. I'm actually kind of... Holly's correct. You're correct on that too. It's all around. The best thing you could hope for is somebody who's not a part of the system. But how do you get that? Anyways. Facing the crowd, yes. Forget tribalism. That's basically what it is. It's just, my team is better than your team. Let's see if this guest is ready. I'm sorry, folks. I was just having fun. I really was. That was as much fun as I've had in a week. I just like to, whatever. Thank you, Michelle, for that. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Anybody else going to go to the conference? I see you there, Ben. I see you on the first piece. Come on, Ben. Get you a ticket to the conference. Okay, you want to go. Get you a ticket. Get the money for a ticket. All right, so here we go. We're going to get on this. I'm going to bring on our guest. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Before anybody gets all worked up, I don't choose sides in that situation because I don't have a dog in that fight, because my dog's not going to win anyway. So it doesn't matter.
Hello?
Hey, is this Ann?
This is. Hello.
Hey, sorry, I'm calling about your car's extended warranty. You haven't sent back the notice. And,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm no longer interested.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this is Josh Turner from Paranormal Round Table. And folks, this is Ann Celine. And Ann is, where are you from, Oregon?
I am.
Oregon. Okay. So she's from the country of Oregon. John Villafranca, thank you for that donation. And so we've been friends for a while, and you wrote a book.
I did.
Yes.
It was published in February on the 24th. It was a lifelong dream of mine to become an author, and it was really surreal. It's called Aperture in the Veil, Born in a Preternatural World. And it basically is every single paranormal experience that I've had from birth up to this point.
Okay, so almost kind of like Steve Stockton.
That's right, My Strange World.
Steve's book, My Strange World, very good book. I read that book, and I really enjoyed it. Folks, if you haven't gotten it, go get it. It's on Amazon. It's Steve Stockton, My Strange World is a really good book. He talks about a lot of cool stuff in that book. It's a very easy read too. So I don't have a copy of your book. You haven't sent me a copy of your book, which is still annoying to me because I haven't gotten to read it. And so
well, if you'd like, I mean, I can always send it to you online and then mail you a copy.
Sure, because then I need to read it so I know how good it is. But I mean, you're on the show tonight, so you want to talk about because okay, one of the things we've talked about, me and you, we had a conversation several months back, and we talked about vampires for like an hour. Okay,
right.
And so that was one of the conversations we had. Do you what are your thoughts on this? Because I was talking about vampires earlier and different types of vampires, but just in general, vampires.
Well, so I am a part of the vampire community, and I have my fangs. I got my fangs from Father Sebastian, and I'm a part of the Sabretooth clan. Basically, vampires, in my opinion, it's not the same as the vampires that you see on television. They are the living vampires that like I do Reiki. It's about energy and energy transference and all of that. So, but it was interesting because I have recently as well been getting into the ET phenomena, and I found this book that has this list of all these different kinds of aliens, if you will. And there is a species there that it's like called the bat kind. It's like a bat alien. And it made me think of you in our conversation because I was like, well, gosh, if he gets vampire reports, could it be aliens that look like vampires? You know what I
Okay, all
mean?
right. So that's a lot to digest. Okay, first, okay, let's back up here. Okay, so I thought you were like into so you were you are a vampire, like
Yes.
you claim to be an actual vampire,
Yeah, a living psychic vampire.
a psychic vampire. Okay, all right, because it's like
Mhm.
you don't. Do you drink blood?
No, I am not a sanguine. No,
Oh,
no
okay,
sanguine at
all
all.
right.
And
Because I was like,
also, when you hear the word psychic vampire, you tend to think of the people that, you can walk into a room and you sit next to somebody and they're really negative and you just feel drained of your energy. Not that either. That's something completely different. Think of psychic vampire more as like, in energy healing, you give energy, right?
mm-hmm.
And we have auras that are around us and we give off energy that's just kind of, like steam coming off of water. So then people who identify as a vampire kind of take that extra excess energy within themselves and there you go.
Okay, so I'm still kind of confused. Like, you give energy as a vampire?
I can.
Okay. How does that
Yeah,
work?
you can take it, you can give it. It's just like I'm a Reiki master as well. So I practice energy healing.
Okay. But that has nothing to do, because I know what Reiki is. I've studied it, but I've
Uh-huh.
never practiced it. But I mean, like I can lay hands on someone and pray for them. And I feel like I feel
Right.
energy flow through me. But how does that work if you're a vampire? Because aren't vampires about taking? I mean, that's kind of
No.
the I've never heard of a
No.
vampire that gives. I mean, like, is there, because I mean, is there a type of vampire that goes around and is like, this person needs blood, and they give them blood, like if they were in a bad accident and they're like a reverse vampire? Or is that what that is? Or
No, no. So with the energy, right? So we can take in energy and sometimes you have excess. You have more than you need. And if you have more than you need, you can use that in whether you're doing your spell work, whether you're doing healing. So it can be used.
okay, so yeah, somebody just said I'm so conflicted here. I am too, because I'm trying to figure out what you're. Okay, and I don't want to offend you. I'm not trying to, because I don't want
you're
you
not.
taking my energy. I'm good. I'm just saying.
No.
No, I'm serious. Like so you take energy from people that allow you to, they offer their energy to you. Is that what that is, or how does that work?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay, so you can lay hands on someone and take their energy from them.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And how did you get into this? Like, how did that start? Like, what happened?
Well, gosh, I've always been drawn to vampires since I was really young. And I ended up getting connected with Father Sebastian when I found out about the Sabretooth clan, just from, doing the podcasting and everything. I heard him on a couple interviews. And then he wrote a book called The Black Veils. And he also started putting on classes to go along with the book. So that's kind of my rabbit hole that I jumped down to learn more about vampires.
Mm-hmm. Who is Father Sebastian?
Well, Father Sebastian, gosh, he's Father Sebastian. I mean, he's a fangsmith, and he runs all of the. There's a lot of events that he puts on throughout the world where all the vampires can get together and they have this big party like in the endless night that they have in New Orleans every year. They have events in California and New York. So yeah, he runs. He's the head of the vampire community.
He's the head of the vampire.
Mm-hmm.
He's the head of the vampire community in Oregon or all over the world.
All over.
Oh, like he's the head vampire of the entire world?
I mean, he's made huge strides within the vampire community and bringing people together and teaching people about the different aspects of being a vampire. And I mean, it's you should just look him up. It's Father Sebastian, and I mean, there's information about him all over.
Okay. All right. So somebody just said they saw him on Ghost. This is her Ghost Adventures.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been on there multiple times.
All right. All right. So I guess I'll have to look him up. Father Sebastian. Why is he called Father?
That was a nickname. I mean, it's kind of like with me being Lady Anne. It was one of those things where somebody just ended up calling, giving you a title, and it stuck. And then ever since then, it's been that. Like for me, back when the caravan first started, my co-host Vance, he opened one of the episodes with Lady Anne, and then the listeners started calling me that as well, and it stuck.
Okay. Jean-Paul Shelton said, this is starting to sound demonic. Okay, well, I'm not demonic, Jean, and I don't know what your, what your belief is, and
with demons and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know what this is. I mean, you're because I mean, I thought you were like into vampires because, like I said, I didn't get a chance to read your book, and we talked,
Right.
but I don't. I guess the part about you belonging to the clan, I didn't really understand. Not the clan. Sounds terrible. No, talking about the Sabretooth clan. Yeah. So what? I mean, so tell me.
My book actually doesn't go into any of that. However, I do have a book started that does go into that, but that's like back burner right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So many would call this the ghost of or demon hand path, depending on your point of view. Does your belief have anything to do with demons, or what do you? I mean, do you like what? I mean, that's because everybody's asking there. They're saying, So I'm curious. What is this?
So I have friends who I'm friends with everybody. Friends that are Satanists, friends that are Luciferian, and demons do tend to be, and those paths do tend to be widely misunderstood. I will say that. I do not follow those paths. I am somebody I'm a light worker.
Okay.
I've worked with the angels, Archangel Michael. I've worked with the Pleiadians. So I'm aware of them and I understand it, but I do not work with them.
One of the things I was going to say, and it always seems to be because my brother was a Satanist at one time, and he changed his life. He found God, but it always seems to end badly with when you deal with them, because they when you make them mad in any kind of it seems to be that they're easily manipulated into trying to use the energy against you. And I've had it happen to me multiple times. And if you are even on their radar at all, in any shape or form, it always ends up being them. And I've even had regular practicing shamans, that I was, sort of cool with, whatever. But then as soon as you make them mad, any kind of reproach or an insult, I think personally, in my opinion, they get manipulated by the darkness into cursing you. I mean, it always breaks down to that. It's happened to me about a dozen times. I'm not saying that you're that way, but just you're saying you're friends with them. I'm giving you a caution there that does tend to, that kind of is how it falls out. I mean, they always get upset. I had a guy who worked with us, and I fired him because he tried to sell drugs out of my nightclub, and I fired him.
Right.
And so he put a curse on me, but he died in a car wreck, like I think 2 weeks later or something like that. So I've always wondered that. I don't know that was connected, like if maybe he did that and it backfired on him or something. But he was telling everybody he would put a curse on me, and he was blah, blah, blah. I'm going to curse this guy. This guy's going to die, blah, blah, blah. His nickname was Diesel. And his nickname was Diesel because the dope he sold, I think, was because it smelled like diesel fuel. I'm not joking. This is a true story. Like, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And so people started, they nicknamed him that. He thought it was a cool nickname or something. But anyway, this guy put a curse on him, and then he ended up, like, his cousin said that he died in South Texas in a car wreck, like 2 weeks after he put a curse on me. I mean, but it always breaks down to that because he's like, oh, I'm not a bad, whatever. I'm a good guy that practices this, whatever. Yeah, okay. They always say that.
See, I mean, number one, regardless of what somebody believes, what I have found is, does your energy mesh with theirs? Can you tell if they're genuinely a good person? Because you can be a genuinely loving, good person who, like I know somebody, I love her. She's amazing, absolutely incredible. And she does work with demons, but she is the sweetest soul that I've ever met.
She works with demons. Who is this person?
Yeah.
So I cannot. I just want to stay clear because I don't need that person working with demons around me. I'm good. No,
I understand that, but I'm just saying, so I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of that. And so you really if the person is mature enough and they're solid within themselves, they're not going to just sit there and turn into a 4-year-old that's going, I'm going to curse you, because there are those people out there.
That's happened to me multiple times, and it's happened to my brother and many other people I know. It always just seems like if there is an insult or if something goes south with a person, okay, which happens, you get into your friends or whatever, and then next thing you know, you and old dude are like, hey, you know what? We're not cool, man. Blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, they go back to their drawing board and they're doing what they do. I mean, it's happened more times than I can count to more people than I can count. And that's any time that they're on somebody's radar. It happened to somebody very close to me. Her own sister did it to her. Okay. I mean, just like, and then most recently, a friend of mine's wife did it to him because that's their answer. Because the darkness, and I'm going to tell you something, you're easily manipulated by the darkness if you don't have, the light. And I mean, the light, what do you think is the one true path? I mean, like, do you think that there is one true path, or do you think that it's all just shades of gray? Or
from having the blessing of getting to meet so many amazing people in this community, there is no one right path, because I think that it goes back. Okay, so here's a belief of mine. You have the soul, okay, and it splits up into 2 pieces, and then those 2 pieces split again into 2 pieces. So now you have 4. 2 are left behind, and those are your higher selves. Then there's the 2 that incarnate here on earth, and that's where you have your twin flame from. Well, when we come here, we sign these soul contracts, again, in my belief. And in these contracts, we're signing up to experience certain things or to be certain things, because in the end, we're here to learn unconditional love and forgiveness. And so as we go through these experiences, we are learning this, and it's raising our soul's vibration. And we're also helping raise the vibration of our soul family who is here. So it's okay. This is a really, I don't know, please don't bring out the pitchforks, but there's a thought. Okay. So Jack the Ripper, all right, he comes into incarnation and he murders people. And let's say he murders a woman and they signed up for this, but in the next lifetime, okay, when they reincarnate again, she is his mother and he is her son, and then they heal that past life karma together through a new contract that they've signed up to do.
Yeah, let me explain to you my take on that. Now, I get what you're saying about that. But I'm gonna tell you, if you honestly think that someone who is like Jack the Ripper, okay, and let's say, I mean, it's Aaron Kosminski, that's who it was. I don't care what they say. They actually got his DNA, and then they didn't want it to be him, but it was him. It was Aaron Kosminski. Basically, he killed these people, right? Do you think that he just dies and he's just going to reincarnate and he's going to have a rough life because of that? No, there's actually a penance you pay. Now, whether you believe in hell is in the biblical sense or a darkness, because I've seen this because I was warned of this, of my own sin, that you can go into a place of perpetual darkness that just lasts and lasts and lasts, and it is like nobody's there to talk to you. You're just in there. I saw my friend who took his own life. He ended up there. And it takes someone who's allowed by the higher power, which in my case I believe is God, the Father of Christ, who has to sanction to allow someone to pull them out of it. Somebody has to care about you here. And you will sit there, and or you could go to another type of torment. There are a lot of different levels of hell. But I can guarantee you, Jack the Ripper didn't. I mean, when he has to pay for what he did. Now, those people that are killed in a horrible, violent way, that could be part of their karma from a past life. Yes, I agree with that. And then they move on, and life renews. Life and death, just a circle that keeps going. A lot of people don't understand, and they don't realize the very nature of reality. But I can tell you this: it's not as eloquent, or how do you say it, cinematic, as you kind of put it. I mean, like, I'm not putting you down, but I don't believe that it, like, and then he became the mother. I honestly think he really got punished pretty hardcore for what he did, and I think this is what I believe too, and I really believe this. I believe people like Jeffrey Dahmer, like him, John Wayne Gacy, take your pick, all these murders, these serial killers, the Samuels guy, the one that killed like 100 women or whatever. He was on the Netflix. The guitarist from Weezer, his wife, when interviewed this guy, he killed over 100 people. So you go and you look him up. Something Samuels. Go look him up. He's a horrible guy, and he has no remorse. He's just evil. There's nothing there. I believe they're born beyond redemption. And I've had arguments with Muslims and Christians and of all faith and Buddhists, and say, "Oh no, that's not true." The hell it's not. I mean, what it is those people are NPCs. As far as I'm concerned, they're non-playable characters. They're born into this world. Their penance it's already a done deal. Like they have no empathy, and they have no ability to achieve empathy ever in this life. There's nothing we can do. As human beings, there is nothing, absolutely nothing you can do. Nothing. I challenge anyone. The most powerful spiritual person on earth could try. But that person is devoid of empathy, and you can't make them empathize. There was a killer. I was watching a show the other day with my wife, and he says, "I'm not like you. I don't feel anything over murder. I don't feel for people when I see a car wreck. I don't care. I don't feel anything. I've been told that I'm messed up." He was some guy. He killed some girl outside of Houston or whatever. He was just talking about how he doesn't care. He doesn't feel a damn thing. He doesn't feel anything. And he says, it doesn't matter. I can watch somebody be killed. It's like an animal being killed. I don't feel anything, and there's nothing anyone can do to make me feel anything. And then there's Christians and Muslims and all these other people of faith that believe, I can pray and they'll change whatever. You can pray, you can try, but I believe that there are people that are born into this world, that the die is already cast, and they're going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to be evil, and they're going to be bad. I've seen it. I've witnessed it firsthand. They are pathological and they are evil. There's nothing they will do or say anything that they need to do to get whatever they need or what they want. And they will absolutely kill anyone. And it's like killing a chicken, killing a person, it means nothing to them. It is absolutely nothing you can do. And so when you look at those people, okay, I don't believe that they die and then they come back and reincarnate as anything. They are a dark energy. It slips off into the ether, and their consciousness eventually is destroyed. And if you know anything about this, and they don't go beyond the fifth density either. I can say that. If you know what I'm talking about. They will not go beyond that. Okay, and that's it. That's it for them. Their consciousness will go to it will join with its higher self, as you were talking about, whatever. I believe this is what could be. I'm not saying this is, but this is something that's possible, and that they will suffer and they will pay, and that torment, that debt will be paid for everything they've done. It will be absolutely paid in full. And then they will more than likely just see their consciousness will cease to be. And if you boil it down to its base, whatever, it looks like a freaking marble. I don't know if you've witnessed that either, but that's what it's like a neutral thing, and when the darkness is burned off of it, it's like a white pinball looking thing. That's what I've seen, and I'm just telling you, this is what I know to be like. This is like my truth, what I've seen and what I feel. But now you're completely okay to agree or disagree. I did not realize that we were going to get into this. I had no clue. I thought that your vampires were different than what we're talking about here. But we're here, okay? So we're talking about this in front of all these people.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is fine. I'm just saying that I don't believe that. Now, my absolute belief is that there is an evil that exists in human form that comes, and it is nothing but evil. That's all it is. And there's nothing you can do to turn it. You're not going to flip its polarity. Now, people do flip polarities. I know that. There could be a really bad person, but they have to have some kind of good in them, and it has to be predestined for them to have that in them to be flipped. I was a person who was on the dark side, and I flipped polarity. But I always had a foundation in God. I just had gotten so far away from God that it was like 1,000 miles away. It was like a mirage in the desert to me. And I flipped polarity. I boom, and I went to the other side, and I said, God, there's so many people doing bad. Why do I want to be in this rat race of who can be more evil? I don't want to be a part of that.
Right.
And so I changed my direction, and I went in the direction of light, because it looked like one side was just completely out of control. The pendulum had just swung too far, and I was like, well, if we don't push, you know, you got to push back. But I really don't believe like Aaron Kosminski, because I do believe he was Jack the Ripper. I don't think it's a big, they act like it's some big secret who it was, and there's reasons for that I'm not going to get into, but that's who it was. And then they go, oh, well, you know, he's going to reincarnate as this or that or whatever, in baloney. I don't believe that at all. I think he went to hell. I think he's going to be in hell, and I think that his energy is going to dissolve into nothing, and his consciousness will burn off, and the energy that's left will become a neutral ball of energy and just be used for something else. That's what I believe.
See, I'll be honest with you. I've never heard of that before. So this is I'm learning right now. I have never heard of what you're talking about. And to be honest, I mean, I guess I could say that I'm a bit naive in the world with negativity like that, because I've really never been around anyone who I've considered to be just true, pure evil. I've never been around that.
Yeah, I have. I've actually sitting across the table with my brother and two of our friends and talked to a guy who claimed to be an assassin. And
Oh, wow.
Pretty sure the guy was being honest. I mean, you know, the kind of people that we knew back in the day, and the guy was just very, he's like, I can do this and just go eat a sandwich and I don't feel anything. It's like nothing to me.
Oh, wow.
Nothing. It's nothing to him. And the guy had a reputation as being that kind of a person. So, yeah, there are absolutely pure evil people. I've argued with people because maybe they haven't been around absolute evil that is literally walking on the earthly feet. I mean, and they are completely evil. And I'm not even talking about like they need demons around them to manipulate them or whatever. No, they come back as a dark soul. They are a demon themselves in a human body. They literally are so far gone that it's literally just like a borderline demonic spirit that is in their, to me, I think it's kind of like a hybrid. Like as the Nephilim walked the earth at one time, I believe that that's what they are. They have a Nephilim DNA, and I believe that they are born into that, and that's basically a demonic soul that's just walking around in a human body. Because you don't have, exactly. He said dead-eyed. Yeah, they're dead-eyed. You can look at them and there's nothing there. I mean, salvation is beyond them. I don't believe that they're meant to be saved. I don't believe that they're meant to repent. I believe that they're just going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to go back to the hell realm that they came from, or wherever they were sent from, or whatever. I believe that they get their chance to come here and do evil because they have their part to play. And the really sad thing is a lot of times they're very clever, but in the end, they're smart in a short-term way, not in a long-term way. Because think about it, a demonic spirit is very clever, very ancient, very smart. It's very cunning. But in the end, they're looking at a short-term thing. There's not a long-term goal there, because the long-term overreaching goal is not a good one for them. And like I said on my show once before, if you're a demonic entity, you're standing in the middle of a river and you're trying to make the river flow the opposite direction, because no one and nothing can go against the natural order of things that was ordained and created by the God Most High, the Father of Christ. I totally believe that. And I'm not trying to ambush you here, and I'm not trying to be mean or ugly to you. But I'm telling you right now that there is one true God, one. And his son is Christ, and he is literally he says, I am the way and I am the light. I do believe that you can die and be reincarnated, and I do believe that, and a lot of people don't agree with that, but it's what I've seen, is what I know to be true. But, okay, in order to get off of this path and get out of what I call the Kali Yuga, where we're at right now, and not keep coming back here until this place turns into an absolute real hell on earth, which it is, you want to get out of here, and the only way out is through Christ. And the only way is to accept Christ, and Christ will take you where you need to be. He is literally the vessel out of here. He's the last ship out. There's no other way. And when he returns, his next time, he's not going to be nice. He's going to kill with his words. It is the truth. I mean, that is the absolute truth. And I'm not trying to preach here. I'm not a Pentecost. I'm not a, whatever. I've been baptized as a Catholic when I was born. Then my parents were Baptists, and I was baptized as a Baptist. And then I was baptized as a non-denominational. I've been baptized 3 times, which all of that is meaningless if you don't have salvation through Christ. And I believe that a lot of the scripture was taken out of the Bible. And I believe that when Jesus talks about being born again, he was not just talking about being born again in the Spirit. And I know a lot of people don't like that, and they don't want to believe that. But let me tell you something, folks. In the Bible, Jesus was gone for 20 years. 20 years. We don't know what he was doing, but we have a good idea. Because if you're from the West, you're not going to know this. You are not going to understand this. And I'm not even talking about you, Ann. I'm talking about whatever.
Right.
You go and you follow Christ down the Silk Road. Okay. I believe he took the Silk Road all the way to Japan. He went all the way through China. I believe he went to every ashram and every temple, and he witnessed to Hindus and Buddhists. And I believe that he went all the way to Japan. They have records of him as Isis in Japan. That is the truth. That is the absolute truth for 20 years. And I believe when he died, he witnessed to the Mesoamericans. That's one thing I think the Mormons do have correct. I mean, I think all religions have a little bit of something there. And I'm telling you the truth. I believe that he was what the Aztecs called Quetzalcoatl. They went about, following him the wrong way. They got off the path. And of course, they had all these horrible things that they did. But I believe he tried to witness to the new world. He came here in the spirit to the Mesoamericans, because they have all these legends of this white-haired man that came from the sky. It could have been Christ. I'm not saying that that's exactly what happened, but I do believe that could be what happened. And of course, over time, the stories get changed and turned around. I always say, it's like, say if you and me and my friends and Nellie, and you got some friends, and we all got in a spaceship and we went to Mars. And we had generation after generation, of kids, and our children grew up together, whatever. And you had kids, and me and Nellie had kids, and we all, but by the time, 10, 12 generations away, what we did and how we got to Mars would be a rumor. They would have no real recollection. They would be like a people with amnesia. They would not really understand where they came from. So then it would all just become myth and legend, and somebody writes it all down, and somebody comes to power and says, I don't really like the way this looks. Let's change it. And that's what's happened. And Muslims will argue with me all day long that the Quran has never been changed, but that's not true, because look at Ali. When Ali, he didn't like, he changed it. That's why there's Shiites, and that's why there's Sunni. But Muslims will be like, this is the word of God, and it's never been changed. Okay, well, you believe that, but then, one sect of Islam believes that Ali was correct and that he was backing up and reaffirming the words of Muhammad. But there's a lot of, information that's a little different. I mean, it's if you start to look at it, it's very controversial, because it seems like he's kind of taking his own stance and saying, this is what I think, And so, even with all the major religions of the world, there is a lot of controversy. Who is correct? Who is right? All you got to do is go to Nepal, go to India, go to China, go to Japan, all these different countries, all these different places where they talk about Christ. He is in every major religion. They talk about him in Buddhism. They talk about him in Hinduism as Krishna Kalik. He returns, and when he comes back, he goes to war with evil, and we're all saved, and the good guys win. That's what it says in the Hindu religion. Now, I had somebody the other day that was arguing with me. Now, I was actually standing in line buying tacos. Now, I know by looking at me, you're going like, no way, you're eating tacos. But yeah, I do eat tacos. So, but I was in line, and this lady was on her phone, and she was like, these people are so dumb. They believe in all these gods and blah, 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 blah. And she was talking about the Hindus. And it was a thing about the Tamil culture or whatever. And she was talking about how stupid they are. She herself was Pakistani, and I started talking to her. I said, well, where are you from? She's like, I'm Pakistani. I was like, oh, the Indus Valley. And I said, do you know anything? Well, she's a younger generation person. I said, do you know anything about, you were all one country at one time, but you're not really one people, because the Indian subcontinent is full of a lot of different people. The Tamil culture is the oldest culture known to man. And I told her, I said, it's actually, their language is actually older than Sanskrit. And I said, you're talking about them having multiple gods, talking about the Hindus and then the Tamil and all these people and all their different beliefs. And I said, did you know that all of the different gods of the Hindu culture are really all just aspects of the one God? Their God is Brahman. So they have all these different gods, but it's really just one God. It is really all just him. Well, it's very similar to us, as we have different parts to us. Some would say, if you believe in reincarnation, that you have a soul matrix. So, there's a lot of different stuff here, and I'm not sure, like I said, you kind of threw me for a loop when we started talking, and you were like, I'm a vampire and I belong to Saberwolf, and I was like, or whatever, and I was like, right, okay, and I didn't read your book yet, so I kind of went blind into this, but it's kind of took me off into another whatever.
No,
and
it's perfect. Divine timing, and this is just how it has worked out according to the universe, in my opinion. Like I said, nothing with the vampire stuff is in my book. In this particular book, it is just my paranormal experiences that I've had.
Okay.
So we're good. And you know what? I'm learning from you as I'm listening, so I appreciate it.
Well, and I appreciate you listening and not feeling attacked, because I'm not.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, it's a learning opportunity.
Yeah. So, and I'm sorry we got all theological and philosophical. That was not, I just was kind of like, folks, I'm not joking. I've talked to Ann a couple times. We've talked business, and we talked about your radio channel and your friend that runs it and all that. We talked to them and all that. So we were kind of like, we didn't really get into the whole vampire thing. Now, when you said vampires, my mistake, I thought you were talking about these physical vampires that people see, and I get stories of that I call vampires. No. And most people don't really tell me, hey, I saw a vampire, but they tell me what they saw, and I say, well, that sounds like a vampire. We'll call it that. Because I know, there's all these different types of dogmen that people see, and we just call it all dogmen. But I was telling Anthony and my wife the other day, and we were talking about it, and I said, what are all these things that people see? To me, they're vampires, but they're just they're all different names for them. Like we call them Wendigo, we call them crawlers, we call them the rake, we call them all these different things. But what if there are all just different types of vampires that we're what if that's what we're dealing with? What if they're a type of vampiric entity? And we were talking about these extraterrestrials, which I believe are ultra terrestrials, a little different, but I believe that they could be a type of vampire. Now you're talking about, and a chupacabra has been accused, not this dog-looking one, but the chupacabra, the Puerto Rican version, has been accused of being a blood-sucking, demonic, vampiric type entity too. So you got all these different types of vampires, and I've gotten weird stories after story of weird stuff that I could do in a whole nother episode on vampires. And I was kind of hoping that you were gonna throw it that way, but when life gives you lemons, you just, you throw them out and you go and buy limes and make a key lime pie. Look, so that's what we did. There you go. So, that's what we did. I'm just kind of saying, like, this was unexpected, folks. This is what makes this show what it is. We just kind of went another direction. You know what I mean? But does my theory though make sense about vampires? I mean, does that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And what you were saying about all these other things being something else. See, it's really interesting because I signed a contract to write a second book, and the second book's titled Paramorphosis. And this was a word that I had kind of smushed together using the words paranormal and metamorphosis. And basically, it's when a individual, I'm not saying that all paranormal is this, but I'm saying when one particular individual begins to realize that their paranormal experiences are actually something completely different, like extraterrestrial. So, in the event that maybe you see a ghost or a shadow entity, what if it's a screen memory and it was actually a projection from an ET instead of a actual ghost? Not saying that it's all that way, but I have been, I mean, there's so much to research. There's so much to learn. Oh my gosh. And this is kind of a new path that I've gone down. And I've been learning that a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm going through. That a lot of people right now are looking at these things and they're going, I don't think it's actually this. I think it's something completely different, but we perceive it as this.
That's a very good point, because there have been lots of people who have had sleep paralysis, for example.
Right.
I had somebody recently talking about sleep paralysis to me, and they were, what do you think this is? What do you think this is? And I had just gone to watch a Vietnamese film called The Ancestral with my wife, because my godson's Vietnamese and he's my co-host, whatever. And so I've always been kind of fascinated by some of the legends and cultures of the East. And so I went to check it out because it was about sleep paralysis. And it was a weird movie. It really was. It was very weird. And then parts of it were boring and I fell asleep. But for the most part, you know, I had somebody telling me, hey, we were talking about sleep paralysis because I had said something about watching that movie, and they asked me what I thought about sleep paralysis. And I said, well, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. Some people feel like it's just a physical misfiring of with the brain not connected to the body.
Right.
But a lot of people report feeling like something is on their chest. Something's pushing down on them. They can't breathe. I've even had people tell me that something covered their mouth. When I was 11 years old, I looked up and I was having a dream about spiders, and I looked up and I saw what I thought was a spider, and I threw the sheets up in the air and I was freaked out. And it was literally, it was 2 weeks before school was about to get out. So it was about this time, you know, it was in May. I remember that. And Anthony's mom, my oldest sister, she was banging on the door trying to wake me up, and I was just in a dead sleep, usually a light sleeper. But I look up and there's this hand right there, and I looked through the sheets and I saw this, what looked like a witch. And I'll never forget, she had this like gross growth on her nose. She looked like a hag. And I've never seen that again, that particular entity, but thank God. But it was there when I was 11 years old. And I jumped up out of the bed and I looked around and there was nothing there. But I was having a dream. Now, my friend described having sleep paralysis when we were teenagers, and he said, I had this woman on my chest. There was a guy I used to play ball with or whatever, and he was telling me, we were on a long trip coming back on the bus, and we were talking about ghosts and stuff, and people were like getting me to tell that story about what I saw when I was 15, so I told him the story, and this guy said, man, I had this thing sitting on my chest that looked like a witch, like a hag. And he was having sleep paralysis. Now, I had another friend of mine, Chad, who years later, this kid I went to high school with, saying that he had a weird experience with like what he thought were blue aliens that looked like the Greys, but they were blue. And he had sleep paralysis when that happened. So, yeah, it is very weird. Now, somebody just said here, Jose said, Parsons and Hubbard summoned the lamb, not Crowley. Crowley's summoning. Now, see, now that is, okay, let me get into that. Parsons and Hubbard were the ones that were credited with opening the portals. And Crowley is the one that supposedly summoned Lamb. Lamb being the giant-headed looking gray alien-typing creature that's a demon, and he claimed that it was what demons looked like. Now, there's another myth. Now, there's all these different cities from under the earth, like Shangri-La, Argartha, was it Lemuria, all these different places that supposedly exist. And people claim that these entities come from there. Now, the late Brenton Sawin told me that, and I wish he wouldn't have passed. And so many people have passed away with so much great knowledge. But this guy had a story, and I wanted him to tell it on my show, but he got cancer. He passed, and my show was in its infancy at that time. But he was going to tell the story on the show about these entities that we know of as the Derek. And they live for thousands of years, and they live under the earth, and they look like demonic goblin-looking things, and these things that, your nose never stops growing. And my people know that.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't. It actually keeps growing your whole life. But anyways, like, these things are so old that their noses grow down to look like elephant trunks. And supposedly he saw one, and it was demonic, and he was having this like fitful sleep, and it woke him up. When you start to look at these creatures and these entities, I believe that they are all different. Now, everybody tries to say, oh, they're all just demons, and they're all tricksters, and they're all doing, and it's just one type of demon, and they're doing all this stuff. No, there's multiple types, and there's multiple entities, and there's multiple races of these entities. Why is that important?
Right.
Because if you're like, say you're in a gang, and someone else is a Crip and the other one's a Blood, they're both the enemies to you. It doesn't matter, regardless. What does it matter? They're just not friends with each other. But you got to also know that you're enemies, and there's ways to exploit that too. Because one thing, the nature of evil in of itself, it is not loyal. One thing I vehemently disagreed with the late Brenton Sawin on, he says the devil doesn't divide his kingdom. Well, I told him the devil doesn't have a choice. The entities don't all follow one leader. That's the thing. That's their inherent weakness. That is the weakness inherently in evil. That all of good comes and emanates from one source, whereas evil all wants to be that source that is the top dog of evil. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you ever met any of these guys who run these gangs and stuff online, I'm talking like serious thugs. And I've dealt with a bunch of them. They all want to be number one. They all want to be the boss. Every one of them is chafing under their boss because they want to be numero uno. Good people don't need that. Good people follow a strong leader, and they observe that there is one true God, the God Most High, and they accept that he is the absolute light and the source of all light in the universe. Whereas the so-called devil, there's multiple devils. There's multiple Satans. There's many, many Shaitan, which is the true name of Satan. Satan is not one entity. There's multiple Shaitans and many, many kingdoms of these creatures. In Ireland, now, if you look at the different types of regions, if you go to Ireland and you go to England, Scotland, and Wales, they're called fairies or fae. You go to the deserts of Arabia, they're called jinn. Everywhere you go, there's a different name for them. You go into the Northeast, they're the Pukwudgies. There's, in Mexico, the Duende. There's all these different types of creatures, and they live within the inner earths and the areas of those. That's where they're from. And it's just like there's like Scottish people, and there's people from India. You know what I mean? There's people from China,
right?
And there's people from Belgium. You know what I mean? And they're all different. They all speak a different language. But they're all human. Now, if you look at it in that context, they're all just one type of entity, I guess, because they're all whatever. But they are very different. Even the fairies have the Seelie court and the Unseelie court, and you have all these different types of everything in between.
Right.
And yeah. So, I mean, people get it all mixed up, and they're like, well, the devil is in control of this, and he's in control of that, and there's one devil, and blah, blah, blah. No, because in a lot of these elites, they don't all worship one devil. I mean, some of them serve Moloch.
Right.
I mean, and some of them don't, I mean, there's all these different types of entities. And I guess my point, though, is me as a person who's a follower of Christ, it is all just the same to me. They're all evil, they're all whatever. But you also got to know that there are different ones that are attached to different sins, too. They follow different types of sin, and they do what they do. You see what I'm saying? And you got to be really careful when you're dealing with some of these people, like when you're talking about being into vampirism, because vampirism by its very nature is parasitic. A vampire is by its nature a parasite. It takes, you know what I mean? Like it takes. And that's not really, taking is not really what it's, what life should be about. It should be about giving. And if we all gave, then everybody would have. You see the point? But
That's
if
true.
everybody goes, hey, I'm here to take, eventually there's nothing left to give. And the few that are left to give, they've been sucked dry. That's the sad reality. I mean, I get that you were fascinated by vampires as a child, but maybe it's not. I mean, and it's totally your choice to live your life that way or whatever. But you seem like a very nice person in the conversations I've had with you, and I'm not judging you. But you just got to be really careful with the company you keep, because some people may not be as nice as you, and somebody who's really, really nice and who gives of themselves, there's going to be those that are there to take, and they're going to keep taking until there's nothing left of you. Does that make sense?
No, and this is true. I have definitely been somebody that has kept to myself a lot. I kind of just keep my head down and I read and I research and I do my best to keep KPNL running and write my books and, etc. So I really haven't been around a whole lot of people in person, especially being a busy mom. So
How many kids you
have? 3.
3 children. Wow. How old are they?
I do.
Do they know?
Well, the oldest is what?
Do they know that you're a vampire?
They know about all my stuff, and they're really truly amazing. They one night I had an interview, and I have, if I'm doing an interview, I can't run KPNL when, simultaneously. And so I had my computer in the other room, and my youngest, who was 9, because at the time I was short for time, so I just rushed in here and I was like, okay, I just have to do the interview. If I can't run it on a KPNL, then fine, so be it. Well, there was a break, and I went out to the kitchen, and all 3 kids were helping keep the show on air, and they were keeping KPNL running, and I was just so amazed. They're incredible. And
are they're all like older now or something?
No, my youngest is 9 and my oldest is 15.
And so they and y'all, they're completely like, are they immersed in this vampire culture too, or is it just you?
No. It's just me. No, what I do here and in my own time, and the vampire thing, I might mention it occasionally. A lot of people, when I come on their shows, they go, okay, so you're a vampire witch. What does that mean? And, it's just a short and sweet answer. It's somebody that is, a part of the vampire culture, who is also a witch that, believes in not being held within society's beliefs of women, and embraces her sensuality and her femininity. So everything that I do, my research and these shows, this is separate from my motherhood. My motherhood is, and that's the thing, is I've got so many different, I don't know, departments where, I'm a mom over here, regular old person, and then you've got Lady Ann with the Caravan, where I'm the host of the podcast and everything, and I'm writing these books, and then you've got being the owner of a radio station, and yeah, it's a lot.
So, talking about vampires, do you know about the legend of Lilith?
A little bit.
She factors into the vampire lore very, very heavily. So, what do you know about her? I
know that she's definitely nobody that you want to work with if you have kids, because she devours children. So, she don't have anything to do with her.
Yeah, she's evil. Yeah. She's very evil, and she
right.
Yeah, and of course, according to the traditions of the Kabbalah, okay, which is the book of Jewish mysticism where Lilith is found very prominently. She was the first wife of Adam. Yeah, Daniel Palmquist just said Lilith, Adam's first wife. Yeah, and they had a dispute, and I'm not going to get into it, but she basically said, I'm not going to do this, and she left, and she went off, and she became the cohort of Satan. or a shaitan, Satan, whatever.
Right.
And so that she began to give birth to demons, babies, basically.
Right.
Really, I guess what would be considered like, a type of Nephilim, whatever, because they're hybrids. And then she began to hunt down human children. That was her thing. And a lot of people consider her the world's first vampire. But some people also believe that she became mixed up with Cain. And, that they were vampires. They were the first vampires or whatever. But there's different legends and different beliefs, that follow the different traditions, what she is and who she is and what she did, because she figures very prominently in vampire culture and vampire lore. I'm basically telling you, because, she's demonic. She's an evil spirit. And so being that you're,
Right.
a mother, and you really need to be careful with the whole vampire thing, because, there really are no good vampires. I'm just
It's
being
really
honest.
separate. It's really separate. I don't work with those entities. I don't worship them. It's something that it's separate.
Yeah. Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do. I grew up going to the Methodist church with my grandpa. I was dedicated to the First Christian Church when I was a baby. And when I was growing up, I did my best, because the number one thing that my grandpa taught me is he said 2 things that you never discuss. That is religion and politics. And so from that, I wanted to understand. I didn't want to get into debates. I didn't want to judge or anything like that. So what I did is, when I had a friend who was a part of a different religion, so Catholic, Methodist, Episcopalian, gosh, Lutheran, you name it, I would go to their church for a couple months, because I wanted to understand and learn, why do they believe what they believe? What is it that fills them with that inspiration and that feeling of being close to God in their way?
Yeah. And so, are you a follower of Christ?
I, I believe this is getting a little difficult.
No, just if you are, you're not. It's. I'm not here to try to convert you. I'm just saying, follow? Are you a follower of Christ? Because I'm wondering, because how does that work? Like, if you are, and people say Christian, they use that very loosely. I'm not a follower of the church. I am a follower of Christ. I have a personal relationship with Christ. But you may not, and I'm not telling you whatever. I'm just saying, because I'm trying to figure out how that works with being a vampire. Because I honestly did not know you were a actual vampire. I thought you were like a like you were part of a club or something. I didn't know that there was a practice there in place. I really didn't know that.
Well, it's one of those things where, I'm not like deeply. I'm still new, and I'm still learning everything that there is to learn about it.
Yeah.
I'm interested in it, yes. There's you'd really have to kind of do more research into it, because I am not an expert on anything. I don't think that there's really any experts in the field, but especially in this path, because I am a student. I'm a brand new student. I've only had my fangs for like a year. And so, again, I still have a long way to go and a long way to understand all of that. As far as what I understand with myself and with working with energy, you can take energy, you can give energy, and it's like cycling it, sharing it between, like communing with one another, your energy. That's what I understand. That's what I practice. I work with energy. And that's just a small section of the things that I do, or the things that I'm interested in. But that's not, that is not just me and my only identifying thing. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to learn about the universe. I don't know how this is going to go, but there's one path that I've learned about, like ascended masters, where people have called Jesus he was an ascended master, and that's interesting to me as well. I don't understand it all, but slowly I've learned about that, and then working with the angels and stuff when you do your energy healing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll say that I'm just kind of all over the board because I'm learning.
So, yeah, there are people who claim that Jesus is an ascended master, and he is, but he was the ascended master because of all the different Buddhas and different, masters, whatever. Christ is the exalted one. Christ was the one. He was literally the one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and even in Zoroastrian belief, he was seen in their star charts. The three wise men were Zoroastrian, and they actually followed the star to Bethlehem to give, praise to the Savior. He was born as a Savior. And Jesus learned here, just like he did. He had to, because he was in a human body, and he had to suffer and learn just like a human. But we had to have the flesh. We had to see the flesh. I believe that if we didn't have him in the flesh, we never would have understood. We never would have grasped it. And God was like, look, most of what goes on is not something you can see with your physical eyes, but humans being what they are, they have to see. That's why when Christ died and he returned, he went and he witnessed to everyone, to Thomas. He said, look at my hands, doubting Thomas. He just was like, I don't believe this is really Christ. He showed him the wounds. He said, I am risen. I am here. And I believe in Christ because of what I know him personally to have done for me in my life. When I was at my lowest point in my life, more than once, and I got down on my knees, and he lifted me up and said, walk, and said, no more. Of course, you fall flat on your face every day because we are born into a human body. We're going to sin. It is part of who we are. It is the essence of being human. But we're not. Like, I can tell by talking to you and from your energy, I can tell that you are not a person that is born without the beyond redemption, as I call it. And I've argued with people vehemently that those people do exist. They're here to trip us up. That's all they are. They're just tools. They're agents of the Kali Yuga. They're tools of evil. They're tools of the Shaitan. Their book, their story has already been written. And they're here on this earth. They don't even know it yet. They don't realize it. They don't even know that their story's already been written. There's nothing they can do because they'll never be able to repent and go to God in the truest form in their heart. You can do that. Now, I'm not here to witness to you in front of all these people. I'm just saying that if you wanted to, you could do that. And when you're dealing with certain entities and certain forces, there is no armor. There is no protection. There's only the only thing we have as human beings is God and his word. And Jesus was the word made flesh. Whether the people here want to believe it or not, they may be angry, they may gnash their teeth, or they may jump for joy. It doesn't matter what we say or what we do. That is the only truth. That is the one absolute truth that I have found in my travels. And I've been out of my body. I've been out of my body since I was a kid. And I've traveled all over. I've been all over different planes of existence. And the people may think I'm an absolute nut, and I don't really care. I know what the truth is, and I've seen the true nature of the universe. I've seen the true nature of reality. We are, for all intents and purposes, in a matrix. Now, whether we're a spin-off universe from another universe and God took mercy on us, like some people believe, like the Gnostics, it could be. I don't know. But I just think that, this interview started off in one direction and kind of went in another direction. And I think that, maybe there's something to that, A week ago, I was contemplating quitting and not doing this anymore because this is a very dark field at times. And there are people that see things and they witness things and it needs to be brought to light. I think that there's a reason for that. I think there's a lot of people that are lost and need to be found. And my friend talked to me, and he's been kind of helping me and get me on track and telling me, hey, you need to keep going and you need to do what needs to be done. Sometimes on this show, we'll talk about cryptids and that's it. Or we'll talk about ghosts, or we'll talk about, aliens, abduction, or Bigfoot. It just depends.
Right.
I mean, but tonight I just feel like we kind of went in another direction, and we were going to talk about your book. And I just kind of I thought that for some reason, I guess, in my dumb brain, I'm sorry, I thought that your book was partially about vampires. And I was thinking we're going to talk about vampires, and you were you kind of had a little club where y'all studied it or something like that. I guess that's what I thought. And geez, was I not right about that?
Well, here's the way that I look at it. When I've went on and I've opened up and I've told my stories, it has enabled other people to realize, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. I've experienced this shadow entity or this ghost or this whatever it is. And it really facilitates healing. Now, I've seen this in other interviews as well, we can try to plan for an interview to go a certain way, but whatever you want to call it, the universe or God can work through you during an interview and kind of steer it into a different direction, where maybe that there's somebody in your audience tonight that really needed to hear this. Maybe it saves somebody. So to me, I think that energetically there was a hand in it, and it was guided in the direction that it was for a reason. And that's okay. We can always talk about my book and the other stuff, another time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I'd like to do a podcast show with you, about your book.
Of course.
Where we can still do that. I just, like I said, I guess we never really went too deep, and because we were talking more, I think when we had our conversation, it was more of the business end of this whole thing. And you were telling me about KPNL and your caravan. Well, let's do that. Before you get off, you want to plug, tell them what you do about your radio station and all that. Tell them.
Right. So KPNL is a digital broadcasting station that I created. It really came from having my podcast called The Caravan Library of Lore. Originally, there was a page on there that said On Air Now. And because I was so excited to be a part of this community, and I really believed in what everybody was doing with having these podcasts and really how it was facilitating healing in the community. So I wanted to create a network where I was like, okay, I want to bring everybody together. I really want to elevate the people here in the community, because I felt that it would be another way to facilitate that healing. So KPNL was born. It is a digital broadcasting station that you can find at kpnl-db.com. We have music that has kind of a paranormal theme to it, talks about ghosts and witches and all of that. And then Monday through Friday from 5 p.m. On, we have paranormal podcasts. Saturdays, we kind of have some different special programming. We have one podcast that's about beard and mustache lifestyle. And then on Sundays, which is my favorite, we have old time radio. So, you got your Vincent Price and the Abbott Costello, that kind of stuff. Caravan Library of Lore is now kind of a seasonal podcast, October through January, just because I have so much else going on. And both those things, you can find them on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just type in either KPNL Radio or the Caravan Library of Lore. And then with my book, Aperture in the Veil, you can find it on Amazon, or you can find me on Facebook under Anne Celine if you'd like an author signed copy.
Yeah. And I still needed a copy of your book because I haven't haven't had a chance to read it.
I will send it to you, I promise.
Yeah. And folks, this is not a vampire thing. Every time I wear this on the air, somebody's like, it's a tiger claw, it's a bear claw, you're horrible, you're killing animals. This is a boar tusk, okay? Boars, they're horrible animals here in Texas. They do terrible, terrible damage. They hurt deer, they hurt livestock, they do all kinds of stuff. You see a deer with a broken leg walking around, is because of the divots that they create. They gore people's horses, they tear up people's cattle, and they attack livestock, they kill sheep. They're not nice, friendly animals, folks, okay? And they are weird. They're considered a nuisance animal here in Texas. So yes, that's what this is. I've only shot 2 deer in my entire life. Once when I was a kid, once when I was a little older, and I never did it again because I just wasn't for me. And so I don't have antlers around my house. I don't go around a big old person, hold them up over there. You know, I'm not that kind of guy. Everybody's always like thinking that I am, but this for my audience, just so you know, this is a boar tusk. I am not part of the Saber clan. Okay. That's your clan, right? Your clan, the Sabertooth.
Sabertooth, yes.
Sabertooth. Now, is that now? What's up with the name? What does that mean? I'm not making fun. I'm just being honest. I'm asking.
Honestly, you'd have to look it up. He's got like some of the history on his website, but I don't have it all memorized because that's his thing, his history, and I am just a student still.
Okay. And I'm not trying, like I said, I'm not trying to tell you that you're wrong or right or whatever. I just, you seem like a nice person from the conversations we've had, and I haven't talked to you extensively, but I think that you're a good person, and that you
Thank you.
Just think about what we talked about tonight, and and I don't want your whatever his name is coming after me or anything like that. I don't want to have the problems with people because I told you that I don't believe that it's correct, but I really, it's kind of hard to, because vampires really are by their very nature a parasitic thing, and vampiric entities are really truly parasitic. That's why we call them vampires.
Look at it. Try to look at it this way. Okay, so you've got your goth community. You have a vampire community.
Okay.
Nobody's coming after you. Nobody is going to bat an eye. Nobody's going to say anything to you. Nobody's going to reach out to you. You really have, honestly, 110% nothing to worry about. This is just a community, a club that has a common interest, and that's it.
Okay. But and also Reiki is, if it's practiced correctly, it can be a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I only use it for healing.
Yeah, well, that's good. And so it sounds like you're just really into vampires, like you're the kind of the whole, the way they are,
like lifestyle,
and stuff. But
I love dressing. I love having, the dresses and having my fangs in and everything. And
what are your thoughts on werewolves?
I am really excited about your upcoming conference, and I do plan on being there because the big thing is I have experienced so much in this, Sasquatch and the shadow entities and the ET that I have a picture of that I had sent you.
Really? You sent me a picture of an ET?
Yeah, I saw it walking down the road before I took a picture of it in the window.
Can you resend that? Because I get like 1 million messages a day. I'll go back and I'll look and see if I can find it. If I can't, then I definitely want to see that.
Yeah, it's it's just
I'm gonna go and look and see, because I would love to. That I need to see that.
There, yeah. So I said here in the messages, like you'll be able to see it as soon as you open up Messenger. So, but the thing about Dogman or werewolves or what have you, because I've read through Linda Godfrey's book, and there was this one story that really stood out to me about these two kids that had went to a laundromat, and they'd gotten this new ball, so they wanted to go out back, and they were throwing this ball back and forth, and there was this person that kind of came up out of the ground. There was this this door that came up out of the ground, and this man appeared, and he was dressed in this old-fashioned clothing, and he was like psychically speaking to this kid, and she said that in the report that she watched him change, and he was physically changing, and you could hear him, and it was terrifying. And I mean, that's not the only report that exists, and it's a really terrifying thought. And one of the big things is I have not looked into Dogman, and part of the reason why is because it was the same reason that I didn't look into much with Sasquatch. Now, it's not that I didn't believe people when they talked about their experiences. It's the fact that I didn't want that to be part of my reality. I was sitting there basically saying, okay, I don't prescribe to this. I don't want to have this experience. So energetically, I'm going to close myself off to that. Well, that didn't work for me. It was really bad. It took me a couple times of telling the story before I wasn't even crying on air. Um, so it's a terrifying thought that there's so many reports of Dogman, because I sit there and I go, okay, so could that be the next thing that I run into?
Well, I mean, you could be manifesting it to come to you too, though. That's, I mean, that's
Right.
another thing. I tell people to not get too obsessed with this subject, because it can
Mhm.
actually, it can happen, you know, and then once you're on their radar, you know, it's not good. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, a lot
Right.
of things. You don't want to be on the radar of a lot of different things. You just kind of want to be like, you know, that's
Yeah.
probably, you know. Anyway, it was good talking to you.
Yeah.
You know, and thank you for coming on the show. I'm sorry that we kind of took a different turn or whatever. I hope that everybody
Hey,
followed, and
maybe it was meant for somebody in the audience. It's okay.
well, it could have been meant for you too, Lady Ann. You know, God loves you.
That's true.
And you know, I think some people want to put Christ on the back burner and not realize that he was the ascended master of all the ascended masters. He was the Lord of Lords and King of Kings. And he was crucified on Calvary, but he rose. He rose again. He's the only one that ever came back from the dead. And he
Right.
rose Lazarus from the dead. When I did the eulogy at my mother's funeral, I took solace and comfort in when I read about Lazarus' resurrection, and how cool Jesus was about it. He was just kind of like, oh, well, they were like, Lord, come, you know, my Lord, why are you tarrying? Why are you taking a nap? Why are you chilling out and not rushing over here to save Lazarus? And he's like, I'll be there. I'll get there. And then Lazarus died. And they're like, Lord, you could have saved him. Why did you take so long? And then he gets there and he's just like, boom, and he's alive. Because Jesus was cool like
Right.
that. He knew that he didn't have to go rush over there, and that he would bring Lazarus back from the dead, and Lazarus be a witness to, you know, having died and returned. And it was a teaching moment
Right.
for Jesus. That's the Jesus that I know. Now, I know this, that God is infinite love, and he is the source, you know, of all light and goodness. But the problem is that people think that there's this devil or super devil, and he's the darkness and all that is the dark. No, there is a darkness that consumed those beings and made them what they are. That is the antithesis to God. Not those beings can't hold a candle to the power of God. Even with their darkness, they can't hold the power to. That's what I try to tell people all the time. And
Right.
you know, it is the one undead really that was Jesus. I mean, he came back from the earth, you know. And to me, vampires are being undead, and even the whole, you know, whatever, taking energy, things like that. To me, it's kind of a counterfeit, I guess, or a mockery. That's kind of how I see it. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but people that,
Right.
that there's some that do. And,
Right.
and it is kind of and that's why they don't like crosses, and they don't follow, you know, whatever, because they are the opposite of Christ, you know.
Right.
I'm not saying that's what you are, and if you're not, then that's great. But just look
Right.
really deeply into this, and before you go any further, and really think about it. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of. And if you have any questions, you know, hit me up. And there's a lot of people in this field that are good people that I know. You know some really good
Right.
people that can give you some advice on this whole thing. You know. And I wasn't trying to turn this into a Bible sermon tonight or anything like that.
It happened that way.
It
It's
kind of
okay.
fell that way, you know. Yeah, and you know, sorry that if I offended people, but not really sorry, because this is who I am. It's, you know, and so I felt like, you know, when I spoke tonight, it was just coming from the heart.
Thank
So,
you. I
yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming on. So, thank you again, folks. That was Anne and your book. One more time, the name of it.
Yes. Aperture in the Veil, Born in a Preternatural World.
Which I do hope to read at some point. And
Yes,
hopefully
you'll
I
get it.
will see you in Paris, Tennessee.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Anne, for coming on. And
Thank
you have
you.
a blessed night, okay?
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so folks, I wasn't trying to, like I said, that was totally took another direction. I thought we were going to talk about vampires. She is a vampire. Not in the sense that, it's just, I don't know. It's, and I absolutely was not trying to be insulting to her. I've talked to her before. And like I said, when we talked on the phone, the conversation was more about, promoting and doing things and whatever. And I guess that part just never came up as far as like, I knew that she was in a vampire club or whatever. I didn't know that she was I didn't know that she identified herself as an actual living vampire or whatever. I just thought it was something else, I guess. I don't know. So she says, Rootman Jr. So Wolf, everyone has been chosen for VIP. I'm so interested. Okay, so what you need to do is buy a ticket. And let me ask Anthony before we go any further. Anthony, come here. Let me get these headphones off. Got this haircut, and then I decided to shave, and of course, every time I do, I look like a little fat kid. That's not Wolf. That's just a fat kid. Just a big old fat kid. Hey, Anthony.
Yeah.
So, if somebody wants to, can we put 10 more of the VIP on there? Is there a way to do that? And then they can go and purchase a ticket?
Yeah, I can go in and make 10 more VIP.
VIP. It ain't going to hurt nothing. We're going to put 10 more of the VIP on there. Okay? And if you do it now and you go and you buy a ticket, I'll get you 2 for 1. You bring a +1, give me the name, send me the information, and I'll put it on my phone. We'll have it there. Okay? So we're going to do that tonight. We're going to add 10 of the VIP tickets on there. So you can go and you can purchase one. And I got you already, anyway, the 2 people that I mentioned earlier in the show. John Sablon, if you want to bring an extra a +1, you be my guest. Go ahead, John. You've been a supporter of the show for a long time. And there was one other person, too. But anyways, that's what we're going to do, folks. You guys can go and you can get your tickets. Hope to see you at the conference in Tennessee. We're going to put 10 more of the VIP. That's all I can do. Can't do any more than that because then it gets a little loaded, overloaded. Holly M says, see, Josh, you should now know your true purpose, and this is why you can never leave this community. I'm trapped. Anyways, folks, thank you for those who donated. It's greatly appreciated. And like I said, it's not expected or whatever, but we do put it back into the show to help fund and promote the show so we can keep doing whatever. And that interview was not anything like I had envisioned. I thought we were going to talk about her book, and I thought part of it was about vampires. See, because that's what happens when you don't read the book. When you haven't read the book, that was it, because I hadn't read the book. And I had talked to her briefly last night, and I was like, yeah, okay, we're going to have you on the show. And then it kind of took a weird turn when I guess my idea of vampire was different than hers or something, maybe. Last Starfighter born in East Philly. Did you ever get a chance to read a letter I wrote by my uncle? Yes, but I don't know where the letter is. Last Starfighter, send me your information on email. If you could send it to me in email so I can go in and I can have it there, because I would love to have you come on and talk about this if you would be willing to talk about this, because there have been sightings of a dogman type creature in and around Kerrville. I actually just talked to Ken Gerhardt about this the other day, and we spoke about you. So, Last Starfighter born in Soleil, hit me up on Messenger or whatever. Like I said, Bearkeeper, you got 4 already. Just bring your +1, and I'll get him in as a VIP, my guest. Okay, for you, I'll do that. And I think it was Melissa, the other one. And then we're gonna put 10 more VIP on there because the VIP sold out so fast because everybody wanted to be able to have that extra day with the with all the people. We're gonna give you 10 on there, and y'all can go and buy those tickets. Okay. I actually was planning on ending the show tonight a little bit early, and we just ended up talking or whatever. And, you know, like I said, yes, absolutely. Namiria says, Josh, when you send the Patreons the goodie box, can we bring the shirts to have you all sign it? Yeah, sure. We're also going to make T-shirts of. We're planning on trying to make T-shirts of the actual Dogman conference with the logo on there, and we're going to raffle some of those, and we might sell them too, you know, to help pay for the conference. And we're going to have posters with everybody's signatures on there that people can purchase, and we're going to give away like maybe 10. And then the rest, you know, sell so we can pay for the catering and the hotel rooms, and we got to pay for all the. It's a lot of stuff that we got to pay. A lot of it's going to come out of my pocket. I can tell you right now. But that's fine. You know, I want to have an open and frank discussion about Dogman in person with all these people. Something that you're never going to get in cyberspace. It's not going to happen. You know. And so you guys show up, you know, and let's talk about this. Let's talk about Dogman. Let's talk about these cryptids. Give me your opinions, whether you think it's something that's evil or you think it's something from outer space, something from the inner earth, whatever you think it is. Let's do this. Let's find out, you know. Folks, after these 10 VIP, that's it. It's going to be general admission, but general admission is not bad because you're still going to get all the other, you're going to get entered into the giveaways, and everyone that comes to this conference is going to leave with something. I actually put an order in for a secret gift that I'm going to give to every single person that shows up. Somebody says, you're not fat, you're just husky. I'm not like fat, but like, you know, like my arms, like they're muscular, you know, but there is some fat there. It's very little. I have very little fat, folks. Okay. Just a little bit. I'm trying to get rid of it. You know what I mean? I'm just like, you know, this right here, this is all just muscle. This is all muscle. Oh God, I'm lying, dude. Okay. You know, I have a spare tire. Right? Actually, I'll go to the gym and I'll take a picture. I'll put it on Instagram. I don't look terrible. I don't look great either, you know, but I do hit the gym. I do try to go, and, you know, but I love to eat at Reali's. It's a freaking amazing Italian place. And I love to eat Ruman's, which is a Mediterranean place. And I love to eat at China Express, which is a great Chinese place. And I like my tacos. I got to tell you, Serrano's fajitas. You know, me and Bartonelli, we both have the same favorite food. Chicken fajitas, although it's kind of a weird thing to call it because fajita literally is the skirt steak. So the chicken fajita isn't even actually a real thing. It's just flavored like fajita. Thank you, Wendy, for that compliment. She says, Wolf, new people seeking to learn about the paranormal all the time, you are a good source for them to learn from. Thank you so much. Holly, thank you for that donation. Thank you for sharing the light of God tonight, Josh. It just kind of fell that way. I mean, and I've talked to her before, like I said, but we never really got into the whole vampire, like what her belief was and all that, you know? And, yeah, I mean, it was, I just kind of was worried because, being vampire, you know, even if it's just a name, you know, I mean, it's like it is a parasitic entity. And so I kind of worried that somebody that is God-fearing and trying to be, you know, if you're God-fearing, you know, it's really, it kind of runs, you know, opposite of that. You know? So anyways, everybody that donated, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It will be put to good use because we're going to use it for the conference and for the show to keep it going. Donations are not expected, but they are appreciated as always. And everybody who is a Patreon member and a supporter, thank you so much for being that. If you've been I believe it's if you're a $10 tier, I don't know, how does it go, Anthony? If you're a $10 tier and you've been a $10 tier for 3 months, we give you a prize, a swag bag, basically. And if you're a $20 tier, you get one automatically after the first month. So and you also get discounts. If you're a $20 tier Patreon member, you get a discount on the tickets. How that works is you'll pay for the ticket, you hit me up, and I'll PayPal you back part of your money. Okay? So just remember, just saw Steve Stockton, somebody saying something about Steve Stockton. He'll be there at the show along with Barton Nunley. I saw Barton in the chat, and Ken Gerhardt will be there. Josh Nanogi from What Lurks Beneath, Tony Merkel, Vault from Vault of Nightmares. I talked to him earlier today. He needs your prayers. He's having a rough time. And so there's going to be a lot of people there. A lot of people there. I'm still holding out hope that maybe I can get Dark Waters to go. He might. I don't know. He says he can't. He don't think he's going to be able to do it, but I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that he can go. He's a friend of mine. Hopefully he can make it. You're going to have a lot of big names under one roof. Nick Redfern has written 72 books. You're talking David Weatherly. He doesn't like being called the Black-Eyed Kids guy. I always tease him and call him the Black-Eyed Kids guy. It's just like, he's done a lot more than just write about the Black-Eyed Kids. He's writing a book about the cryptids of all 50 states. And it's very all-encompassing, and it is hard for David to get away and go to an event like this. He's not doing a whole lot because he's been writing these books. He's trying to write all 50 states. That is a massive undertaking. And I have a lot of respect for David. And he was the one that threw this out there a couple months back, or about 3 months ago, and said, hey, you need to do a conference. And I was like, well, me and Ken were trying. And then, so now we're back in the saddle trying to get it done. We're trying to get this done. We're trying to get it done, and we need to do it. So everybody come out and support us. Help us out, Buy some tickets. Let's get it going. Let's do this. Let's break bread together. I'm gonna cater you. Texas barbecue. You guys show up. And we're going to have a ton of things, door prizes and all kinds of giveaways, and we're going to have people selling all kinds of cool merchandise, and it's going to be a good time, man. It's going to be great. And it may be the only one of its kind. So. Titan, thank you for that donation. Titan, you're always so generous. He says, Josh, awesome work tonight. Blessings on you and yours. Remember that refresh others, are they themselves refreshed? You refreshed as tonight. Bro, keep up. We enjoy it. Nirot says, amazing synchronistic episode tonight as usual. Is that a gator tooth on your necklace? No, it is a boar's tusk, and I think you already know that. But anyways, everybody who participated in the show tonight, thank you so much. I love you all. We are thinking about, this is actually a Cycle Bunny shirt that my wife bought me at the outlet mall the other day. It's a pretty cool shirt. I like it. And they actually do have a big and tall, so that's why it's like, hey, they have a big and tall. But I was thinking about, several people had mentioned to me wanting PRT shirts that were polo style shirts that were collared. Tell me what you think of that, because I might get some printed up and bring them to the conference. And I'm definitely going to bring a bunch of hats and things like that. And put the little PRT logo on there on the side, It's a trademark logo, it's ours, And I thought maybe that'd be a way to, a nice shirt that you could wear out and you'd have our logo there. So you're out at that nice dinner party and you're mingling and you're like, hey guys, what do you think about Bigfoot and ghosts? And they're like, what? Oh, you guys aren't into Bigfoot and ghosts? Well, me neither. Weird. Those people are, ooh. Yeah, they're just like, who are you talking about, Ted? My wife, Karen, is like that. Yeah, dude, she's unstable, dude. She's really unstable. Then he has to walk off, embarrassed and ashamed. And Ted just lied about his wife. Shame on you, Ted. You should have stuck up for her. Yeah? No, but instead you chose to lie and walk away with your head down. Instead of saying, yes, I believe in ghosts and the paranormal and all the other weird things out there and Bigfoot and aliens and Is there a problem? Is there a problem? Don't make me throw you in the pool, John. I'll throw you in the pool, John. That's what you should do. You stand up. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Simulate. I've worn Hawaiian.